60%. Chapter 361 The Situation Reversal. Half-Moon Candle Dragon. Xiao Duan, how did you bother with this thing, Xiaolong and Xiao Ji? Ji Lingxi projection asked curiously. Duan Hong's face turned dark. He was usually called a joke in front of his family. He could bear it, but now there are Zuo Qianji and other outsiders here, and then call him that, where do you put his face? So. Master, an outsider is here, leave me some face. The corner of Ji Lingxi's projection mouth smiled and waved his hand. Oh, it doesn't matter, let me clean up this little dragon first. After all, the projection of Ji Lingxi carried the black hammer and went straight into the thick fog. Because of the force of the defense formation, the fog summoned by the candle dragon also filled everyone around. Just as everyone relaxed their vigilance, Zuo Qianji suddenly shouted. Careful. Then a flying sword flew out in an instant, and before everyone had reacted, the flying sword played by Zuo Qianji had already met a sharp claw. When the two collided, a fog was dispersed, and the claws were repelled by Zuo Qianji's flying sword, and the dense fog came up again. From time to time, there were earth-shaking noises in the dense fog. It was obvious that it was not the half-moon candle dragon who had attacked everyone just now. It was the Tier 5 demonic beasts that could be repelled by Zuo Qianji. Beware, there are other Tier 5 demonic beasts in the dense fog, which are suppressed by the condensing pulse, foundation building, and golden core firepower to drive off the dense fog. Duan Hong shouted. Due to the forced formation of formation, Duan Hong was not lightly backlashed. If he wanted to arrange formation again in a short time, Duan Hong couldn't do it in a short time. Now the dense fog is permeating, the enemy is dark, and they are bright, which is extremely detrimental to them, and the huge number of people cannot be controlled. Duan Hong asked everyone to disperse the dense fog. Only when the enemy showed his figure could they attack and defend better. Lin Haoyang and the others did not hesitate. At this time, only by working together can we overcome the difficulties, and all kinds of spells and magical items flew up and fell into the surrounding dense fog. Even if the dense fog was created by the 6th order half-moon candle dragon, the dense fog around everyone gradually dissipated under the combined attack of nearly 6,000 condensing cultivators. 100 meters. 500 meters. 1,000 meters. Because of Lin Haoyang's indiscriminate attacks, demonic beasts, who was hiding in the thick fog, felt rather helpless, and could only retreat after a kilometer. After the dense fog dissipated in this kilometer radius, I saw the direction where the half-moon candle dragon had appeared before. The ground has been destroyed in an improper way. There were huge deep pits and the claw marks that plowed the ground, which made people feel palpitation. Moreover, the fog in that direction was already extremely thin. Obviously, in the process of the half-moon candle dragon and Ji Lingxi's fight, the remaining prestige of the attack dissipated the dense fog. As the dense fog surrounding the kilometer area was shaken away, Lin Haoyang and others stopped their attack, but Lin Haoyang and others didn't even think about fleeing. As long as the threat of Ban Yuzulong was still there, no matter how they escaped, they would not be able to escape Ban Yuzu. Dragon attack. At this moment, in the thick fog surrounding the crowd, a blood-red pair of eyes suddenly lit up, and the number was so large that they almost surrounded the crowd. Lin Haoyang took out Junyu from the storage bag. No need to guess, he also knew that the demonic beast's army under Ban Yuzulong had arrived. Seeing that everyone could not avoid a battle, they also took out various magical items and prepared to fight to the death. Afterwards, those demonic beasts broke through the dense fog and turned into demonic beasts of different shapes, and came straight to everyone. Volley of magic talisman, Duan Hong shouted. Without giving up, Lin Haoyang directly took out 2 Tier 4 high-grade charms and shot them at the army of demonic beasts that came straight. Others dared not hide their clumsiness, and took out the magic charms. No matter how powerful they were, they threw them to the demonic beast's army. The target of this operation is the 5th tier demonic beast's nest. All 3 cultivators are fully prepared, and at least each cultivator is equipped with a charm. For a moment, there were 6,000 charms, and the army of demonic beasts was directly submerged by the rain of charms, and directly exploded into a circle. Where the ring was, no demonic beast survived, and the terrifying power rolled back, and the dense fog within a radius of 5 kilometers was completely dispersed. Half-Moon Candle Dragon was busy fighting the projection of Ji Lingxi, and lacked control over the thick fog. After many blows, the thick fog couldn't bear it, and it dissipated completely. As soon as the thick fog dissipated, the demonic beast's army finally appeared in front of everyone in its entirety. The Jedi transformed by 6,000 magic charms completely separated the crowd from the demonic beast's army. At some point, the demonic beast's army has completely surrounded the crowd, and a terrifying number of demonic beasts piled up outside the circle of magic power, with a look of fear and excitement. What they were afraid of course, was the circle of magic power in front of them. The demonic beasts that rushed to the forefront just barely survived. What they longed for was the flesh and blood of Lin Haoyang and others. This makes Lin Haoyang very puzzled. Although demonic beasts loves the flesh and blood of the human race, just like the human race is as demanding as the material of the demonic beasts, the flesh and blood spirit power of the human race is extremely sufficient, and devouring the human cultivator is extremely beneficial to the advancement of demonic beasts. But at this moment, what demonic beasts has in his eyes is not demanding, but almost crazy, which is very strange. About a quarter of an hour passed. The projections of the half-moon candle dragon and Jilingxi no longer knew where they were hitting, and the power of the magic talisman salvo finally dissipated. I saw a huge deep trench with a width of 500 meters and a depth of 50 meters, and more than 6,000 magic charms, directly evaporating the land in these places. The huge deep ditch blocked the attack of demonic beasts, and demonic beasts below Tier 3 had difficulty crossing this deep ditch. At this moment, 20 huge Tier 5 demonic beasts appeared. Each of them automatically used their innate magical powers to push the gravel and soil, and fill the deep ditch forcibly, but this process took almost a stick of incense time. After breathing for this period of time, everyone finally recovered some spirit power and eased from the broken backlash of the previous formation. Seeing demonic beasts came, everyone urged magical item to meet the demonic beast's army, with nascent soul, golden core, and foundation building at the forefront, while the condensing pulse was guarded behind to provide support. For a while, the blood suddenly appeared, and both sides were injured. However, with the advent of close combat, the superiority of the Jilin line is also revealed. The cultivator of the Jilin line, relying on its physical strength, is often one enemy 2, or even one enemy 3. At this moment, Duan Hong held a big clock and, with his own power, stopped 2 Tier 5 top-grade demonic beasts, and did not let the wind fall in the slightest. The other nascent soul cultivators of the Jiling line are also extremely brave, pressing down the 5th order demonic beasts and hitting them. In this scene, the corners of the eyes of Hu Weiwei, Xian and others are jumping around. Is this really a human? Just now, he saw Duan Hong exchange injuries with the top-grade demonic beasts of the 5th rank, and he lifted the big clock and smashed it on the head of a demonic beast of the 5th rank, while the other demonic beasts directly extended its claws from him. Cut it from the back and almost cut it in the middle. Under the big clock, Tier 5 demonic beasts was bleeding and dying, but Duan Hong was also extremely injured. When Zuo Qianji was preparing to support, a mysterious force emerged from Duan Hong's wound. The wound stopped bleeding immediately, and the flesh and blood that hadn't been cut started to heal, watching everyone. Lin Haoyang was not to be outdone, and Junyu flew in his hands, fighting against 4 Tier 4 demonic beasts, killing intent double swords, Long Yuan and Black Dragon long banner bodyguards, and he fought back and forth. Lin Qianlong and Su Ling'er watched for a while. Trance. The 3 cultivators have finally seen the horror of the Jiling line. The battle lasted for a quarter of an hour, and the 2 sides fought very anxiously. At this moment, a huge black shadow appeared in the sky. Half-Moon Candle Dragon was smashed to the ground with a hammer from Jilingxi. It was covered in blood donation, and many bones were severely deformed. Obviously, it suffered a lot in the first one. Okay, I don't want to play anymore. A figure of Jilingxi came from the sky, and then the black hammer fell towards Ban Yu Zulong's head. 61%. Chapter 362 The Return of Ouyang Ji. However, just as the sledgehammer was about to fall, the projection of Jilingxi suddenly dimmed, and spirit power was also emptied. The projection of Jilingxi, who was still terrifying in strength just a moment ago, turned into a display in an instant. I saw the black hammer that cast the shadow of the half-moon candle dragon on the head of the half-moon candle dragon with terrifying power. Half-moon candle dragon has been cast shadow by Jilingxi. At this moment, the black hammer smashed down, and he could no longer give birth to a heart of resistance, and could only let the black hammer fall on his head. However, the imaginary terrifying power did not erupt, and the black hammer fell on his head, like a bubble, extinguished at once. Lin Haoyang and other outsiders felt more real, and saw the ghost of Jilingxi, which was illusory for an instant, and then the moment when he came into contact with the half-moon candle dragon, the phantom of Jilingxi quickly dissipated. Jilingxi, who was far away in Jagged City, suddenly opened his eyes, slapped his hands, and secretly said badly, but soon, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. As a cultivator, even if it is just a projection to deal with a tier 6 demonic beasts, it is still certain. There is a reason why the half-moon candle dragon was only defeated until now. Ji Lingxi and Kun Yuanzi reached an agreement with the two demon emperors not to interfere with the low-level matters. If Black Emperor Biwan knew that Ji Lingxi had killed the half-moon candle dragon, it might cause Black Emperor Biwan to retaliate. Therefore, Ji Lingxi deliberately dragged it to the present, letting other people kill the half-moon candle dragon. Lin Haoyang and others didn't know what Ji Lingxi thought. Now that the projection of Ji Lingxi disappeared, what would the Banyu candle dragon do? Although Ji Lingxi had beaten the half-moon candle dragon to half-death and not miserable, it was finally tier 6 mid-rank demonic beasts. Without defense, they were likely to be killed by one blow. Moreover, they have to deal with other demonic beasts at the same time, and they are even more unable to deal with the half-moon candle dragon. After a while, Banyu Zulong still didn't wait for Ji Lingxi's lure, and he realized that something was wrong. When he opened his eyes, there was no projection of Ji Lingxi, leaving him lying on the ground stupidly waiting to die. Roar! Banyu Candle Dragon roared, and in this roar, there was anger and aggravateness, but now his time is running. Obviously, Banyu Candle Dragon had already seen the disappearance of the Ji Lingxi projection, and Banyu Candle Dragon struggled to get up from the ground. Since his awakening, he has been bullying other demonic beasts. He has grown up to the present, and the journey has gone smoothly. Unexpectedly, he has been bullied by a human race until now. Banyu Zulong looked at Lin Haoyang and the others fiercely. He twisted his body to connect the broken bones, and then a huge blue ghost fire rose up all over his body and slowly walked towards everyone. Now that Lin Haoyang and others are surrounded by demonic beasts, there is no way to escape, so he is not in a hurry. He wants to kill Lin Haoyang and others a little bit to relieve the hatred in his heart. Lin Haoyang saw the half-moon candle dragon coming towards everyone, gritted his teeth, and violently activated the blood in his hands, but the 4 tier 4 demonic beasts had been prepared for a long time, and under their combined efforts, Lin Haoyang's blood was taken down abruptly. However, Lin Haoyang didn't want to tremble with him. He slapped his storage bag, and 2 tier 4 high-grade magic talisman flew out and entered several battles. These were the last 2 magic talisman Zhao Duanlong gave him. But until now, if Lin Haoyang didn't hesitate, he had to pull away to stop the Banyu Candle Dragon, because he still had the Dao Protector from the Ji Lingxi, which could block the Banyu Candle Dragon's attack. The 2 magic talisman are 2 tier 4 high-grade Angry Thunder Talisman, produced by Zhao Duanlong, with great power, directly turned into 2 red Angry Thunders, and went straight to the 2 tier 4 low-grade demonic beasts. Siege of Lin Haoyang's 4 demonic beasts, 2 tier 4 lower grades, 2 tier 4 medium grades, and 4 demonic beasts are all alert by nature, and the cooperation is excellent. With the cooperation, even Lin Haoyang's violent blood has been taken over. But magical charms are different. Magical charms can lock the target. Once locked, it is difficult to get rid of. Moreover, the power of this rage talisman is so powerful that 2 demonic beasts may not be able to resist it. Therefore, at the most critical time, the 2 tier 4 middle-grade demonic beasts did not lend a helping hand, but avoided them from a distance. The 2 tier 4 low-grade demonic beasts had no helpers. They were not the opponents of the tier 4 top-grade Fury Talisman by themselves. The magic talisman fell, even though the 2 demonic beasts played their inner alchemy to resist. However, after not resisting for a while, the Thunder Spirit Talisman penetrated the defense of the inner alchemy and hit the 2 tier 4 low-grade demonic beasts. In an instant, the flesh and blood exploded where the 2 demonic beasts were hit by the rage talisman, and they suddenly learned the lives of the 2 tier 4 demonic beasts. Seeing Lin Haoyang's 1 to 4, he even killed 2 tier 4 demonic beasts. Everyone around Lin Haoyang was shocked and began to fight back. And the 2 tier 4 demonic beasts that escaped before disappeared completely in the demonic beasts group. Before the 4 of them could not take Lin Haoyang, now relying on them, they are not Lin Haoyang's opponents. Without the entanglement of demonic beasts, Lin Haoyang quickly teleported through the crowd, daring to go in the direction of the half-moon candle dragon at an extremely fast speed. At the same time, he had an extra beast bone token in his hand. This token was exactly the thing that was given to him by Ji Lingxi that day. Although the half-moon candle dragon came here without any haste, but because of his huge size, every time he moved a step, he would get closer to everyone by 100 meters. Within a short distance of more than 1,000 meters, it didn't take long for the half-moon candle dragon to come to everyone's eyes. Seeing this, Duan Hong and Zuo Qianji repelled their opponents one after another, trying to stop them for a while, but the half-moon candle dragon waved its tail, and their magical item flew out. Regardless of the magical item, Duan Hong hand seals with both hands, the silver spear and Jinfeng array used again, 36 spears, all nailed to the body of the half-moon candle dragon. These spears are unusually sharp, but they are still somewhat inadequate for the scales of the first half-moon candle dragon. Only some shot from the wound can be nailed into the half-moon candle dragon. Although the silver spear was 3 meters long, it was tickling at all for the size of the half-moon candle dragon, and after the spear tip of the silver spear was pierced, it was stuck by the half-moon candle dragon's muscles and could no longer enter. Duan Hong gritted his teeth and activated the second form of formation. The silver spear was a mountain range, pressing the half-moon candle dragon under the mountain. The terrifying weight struck, causing Ban Yu Zulong to tremble at its feet, and was actually pressed on the ground by the silver spear Jinfeng formation. However, as soon as the half-moon candle dragon flicked its tail, the mountain range above his head suddenly collapsed and turned into a burst of spiritual light. The movement technique was broken again, and Duan Hong took 3 steps back and spouted a mouthful of blood. At this time, Zuo Qianji made up the vacancy, and only hand seals his hands, forming a huge yin and yang 8 trigrams array, floating on top of the half-moon candle dragon's head. Suddenly, 4 powers of wind, fire, water and soil spewed out from it, each of which reached the 5th order peak. This level of attack also surprised the half-moon candle dragon, but the more he did this, the more thoroughly he would destroy it. Half-moon candle dragon opened his mouth and vomited, and the inner alchemy one by one flew out, with terrifying power, directly hitting the 8 trigrams formation on top of his head. The 4 powers hit the half-moon candle dragon's inner alchemy, but they didn't have any effect and could not hurt it at all. The 4 quaternaries were pushed back by the half-moon candle dragon inner alchemy, and finally the inner alchemy hit the 8 trigrams formation and instantly smashed the formation. The array was destroyed. Zuo Qianji was also backlashed, his face turned pale, and he opened his mouth and vomited a mouthful of blood. Everyone was desperate, and the 2 strongest men couldn't last a round in the book of the half-moon candle dragon. How did they fight? At this moment, Lin Haoyang rushed in front of Ban Yu Candle Dragon, holding the animal bone token high in his hand, and a breath of transforming God spread out again. Feeling this breath, Ban Yu Zulong's whole body trembled, and his face was full of fear, because this breath was left by Ji Lingxi. Suddenly, Ouyang Ji's voice came from the sky. Little junior brother, how can this kind of treasure be used on him? Give him to me. 61%. Chapter 363 Half-Moon Candle Dragon Death. Hearing Ouyang Ji's voice, Ji Ling's line seemed to have confidence in his heart. Although they are all in the Ji Ling line, they usually see Ji Ling Z rarely, and even some who have just joined the Ji Ling line have never seen the Ji Ling Z. When encountering dangers on weekdays, Zhao Duanlong and Ouyang Ji came forward to solve them, so as soon as Ouyang Ji appeared, everyone immediately felt relieved. Ouyang Ji had tore through 2 tier 6 demonic beasts. Even if the half-moon candle dragon had the blood of a divine beast, he would definitely not be Ouyang Ji's opponent. In addition, the half-moon candle dragon had been half dead by the Ji Lingxi hammer, and there was not much threat. Hearing the incoming person, the half-moon candle dragon also trembled, and from the sound, he felt a breath of the same rank, that is to say, the incoming person is likely to be a cultivator. If it were his heyday, he would not be afraid of the human cultivator. With his own blood, he could fight in the late stage of the cultivator. But after a fight with Ji Lingxi, he himself suffered multiple injuries, only he knew that he came so slowly, except for wanting to torture Lin Haoyang and others. His badly injured body can only allow him to do so. The blue flames all over the body of the half-moon candle dragon skyrocketed again, turning into a flame soaring to the sky, and his inner alchemy was also taken back by him, and he was ready to wait for those who came. Because of this sudden change, the human race and demonic beasts both stopped tacitly. The appearance of the half-moon candle dragon and the master of that voice destined that the key to this battle has been transferred to this person and one beast. Whoever wins, the balance of battle will tilt to which direction. After about 2 or 3 breaths, a flash of light suddenly flashed in the sky, and a giant 100 meters high appeared in front of everyone. The giant is like a super meteorite, directly falling into the demonic beasts group, and there are thousands of demonic beasts trampled to death by him at a time. The person here is Uyangji, who is fully armed, and he is the strongest in the giant mode. I haven't seen Uyangji's 3 cultivators using this special cultivation technique, and all of them look shocked. If Uyang Zihua is not for the human appearance and wearing human costumes, I am afraid everyone will think that Uyangji is an ape demonic beasts. When Ban Yu Zulong saw such a look of Uyangji, his complexion suddenly changed, and he couldn't lift a trace of fighting spirit, so he ran away. Because in his perception, Uyangji was stronger than he was in his heyday, so Ban Yu Zulong would not hesitate to endure the pain, burning the blood in his body to flee. The other demonic beasts felt Uyangji's breath, and they were all palpitated. In addition, Uyangji took the lead to escape, so demonic beasts stopped fighting and turned around and ran away. When Uyangji saw that the Banyu Candle Dragon wanted to escape, he would give him a chance to get rid of it, and then entangled with the Banyu Candle Dragon. Although the blue ghost fire of the half-moon candle dragon is very difficult, even Uyangji dare not let him burn himself casually, but under the violent beating of Uyangji's violent power, the half-moon candle dragon heart's demon rises. There is no half-hearted intention to fight, and he wants to escape. Uyangji grabbed the half-moon candle dragon's tail and wanted to drag it back, but what Uyangji didn't expect was that the half-moon candle dragon was determined to survive and cut off the dragon's tail by himself. But the broken dragon tail was not that simple. At that time, it turned into a terrifying blue ghost fire, trapping Uyangji Chuan, and he burned his blood and disappeared in front of everyone in an instant. However, after a battle with Uyangji, he docked his tail to control Uyangji, and the half-moon candle dragon's combat power was drastically reduced. Now an ordinary tier 6 demonic beasts, he is probably not an opponent. Watching Banyu Candle Dragon escape, Uyangji only smiled at the corner of his mouth, but did not chase, because the direction Banyu Candle Dragon escaped was really the direction that Banyu Candle Dragon came from. Banyu Candle Dragon flees over there, and he will definitely run into it. Zhao Duanlong. Ban Yu Zulong still flees, fight back. Uyangji shouted. Everyone then reacted from the shock. The battle just now was too shocking. Such a terrifying half-moon candle dragon did not dare to fight in front of Uyangji. For a while, everyone's anger skyrocketed. Although demonic beasts had escaped some distance in the chaos, because of the large number of them, it was unrealistic to want to evacuate them at once. Suddenly everyone picked up the magical item in their hands and pursued the demonic beast's army. The blue ghost fire formed by the half-moon candle dragon from breaking the dragon's tail is extremely powerful, and it has trapped Uyangji's time for a stick of incense, and then escaped. Once Uyangji escaped, he was unable to escape demonic beast's devil. Whether it was tier 5 demonic beasts or tier 4 demonic beasts, almost no one was an enemy of Uyangji. Uyangji got out of trouble. With the addition of the cultivator, the battle ended soon. A total of 11 tier 5 demonic beasts and hundreds of tier 4 demonic beasts were killed. The weaker demonic beasts were difficult for a short time. The statistics are as many as tens of thousands. There are too many low-level demonic beasts, and the 3 cultivators even split 3,000 cultivators to refine the blood in the demonic beast's bloodline, and then refine the blood chi pill on the spot. Others are responsible for processing and dividing the demonic beast's material. Lin Haoyang was not idle either, helping to split the materials for demonic beasts. As a refiner, he was the best at these things. Despite this big victory, the damage to the 3 cultivators was not small this time. Nascent Soul Realm did not fall, but almost everyone was injured. In particular, Duan Hong and Zhuo Qianji, the 2 men stubbornly resisted the half-moon candle dragon blow, and coupled with the backlash, the 2 were seriously injured. Fortunately, Uyangji returned, and after taking the medicine pill he refined, he felt much more comfortable. 7 people were damaged in Golden Core, 3 in Chongshanlu, 2 in Qingyunzong, and 1 in Jilingxi. Although Xuanzhenzong did not suffer from Golden Core damage, Ma Jing broke an arm. Not only was his combat power greatly reduced, but the journey was also costly. Ns. Just as he was Golden Core, he caused such bad luck, which made his mind weaken and aged a lot in an instant. As for the rogue cultivators hired by the Lin family, they have fewer casualties. After all, they are here to earn spirit stones, not to die. They always leave a little leeway when fighting. In the foundation building cultivator, almost 100 people were killed in the 3 cases. Before Uyangji arrived, Lin Haoyang and others fell into a disadvantage. No matter how large numbers suppressed, nearly 50 foundation buildings fell. Among them, Zhongshan Tower lost more than 10 people, Xuanzhenzong lost more than 10 people, and Qingyunzong lost the most with more than 20 people. At the same time, there was the greatest loss of the coagulation cultivator, with more than 400 coagulation cultivators killed in the 3 cases. The strength of the half-moon candle dragon is too strong. When everyone was supporting the formation, hundreds of people were turned over and seriously injured, and some were even killed by the force of the counter-shock. Therefore, although it was a big victory, everyone was not happy. After the war, many people lost their close friends, relatives and friends. About 2 hours later, Zhao Duanlong also rushed back, but he didn't come back empty-handed. He still carried the body of half-moon candle dragon in his hand. As expected by Ouyang-ji, Ban Yuzulong panicked and didn't choose his way. After not escaping much, he met Zhao Duanlong, who had rushed over. Zhao Duanlong felt the breath of Ji Lingxi and Ouyang-ji on Ban Yuzulong. Without hesitation, he immediately fought with him. Although the half-moon candle dragon hit the oil and the lamp was dead, it took Zhao Duanlong a lot of effort to kill it. However, because the Tier 6 demonic beasts is too large, even with Zhao Duanlong's Tier 6 storage bag, after loading a Tier 6 demonic beasts killed by the Iron City, it is not enough. Zhao Duanlong also had a rare trouble, and directly dragged the body of Banyu Candle Dragon back. Seeing the death of Banyu Candle Dragon, many people even cried bitterly. Even if they didn't kill him with their own hands, but seeing him fall, it would be regarded as revenge for their close friends, relatives and friends. 61%. Chapter 364. When Zhao Duanlong returned, Ouyang-ji immediately set off for the 6th Order Spiritual Vein. Once the half-moon candle dragon was no longer there, the 6th Order Spiritual Vein became a land of no owner. At this time, demonic beasts will take advantage of the void and destroy the spiritual plants and genius treasures inside. The 6th Order Spiritual Veins are the treasures that can nurture the 6th Order spiritual things. In previous wasteland reclamation seasons, a 6th Order Spiritual Vein was born, which often caused multiple competitions. The Ji Lingxi channel actually has a 6th Order spiritual channel, but it is close to the East China Sea, which is very dangerous. On weekdays, Zhao Duanlong followed Ji Lingxi to deal with all kinds of chores, while Ouyang-ji was in the spiritual vein of Donghai. While guarding the 6th Order spiritual vein, while resisting the attack of the Eastern Sea clan. Therefore, even for the Ji Lingxi, a 6th Order spiritual vein is extremely precious. If it hadn't been for this time that the human race had been robbed on all sides, the inland sect that had been deployed early would not be able to draw out manpower. I am afraid that they would have paid attention to this 6th Order spiritual vein long ago. The appearance of the seatless 6th Order spiritual veins made Zhao Duanlong and Ouyang-ji dare not care, but the two cleared them out. If all the seatless spiritual veins are included in the territories of the human race in the future, I am afraid that this place will become an extremely prosperous place, surrounded by 5 6th Order spiritual veins, which is enough to support a 7th rank sect force. Ji Lingxi has very few people in his line, and only has a 6th Order spiritual line in the battle, but he does not prevent the other 6 cultivators from developing their own forces. Among them, the strongest one belongs to the line of sword-bearing people, and the number of people who transform into gods under his door has reached 6 people, and the number of 6th Order spiritual lines occupied has also reached 6. However, even with the strength of the sword-bearer, the 6 6th Order spiritual veins belong to the east and the north. This also means that the sword-bearer guards the 2 worlds. And in this place, there are 5 6th Order spiritual veins, which are excellent treasures. If the extremely spiritual people are prosperous, they would like to completely occupy this place. There are Ji Lingxi behind. They definitely have this ability, but they are too few people, it doesn't make any sense to occupy them. Ouyang-ji went to the town first, and everyone naturally had no worries about the future and started to deal with these demonic beasts' materials with all their strength. A large number of demonic beasts have not only trained a large number of blood pills, but also have not provided rations. These days, the spiritual rice brought by the 3 cultivators have almost bottomed out. These demonic beasts have just made up for the problem of food and grass. It took about another half a month before it was sorted out. Almost all the cultivators' storage bags were full and they couldn't fit. They also forcibly enslaved a few Tier 4 demonic beasts, acting as coolies, and transporting all their items to Tier 6. Lingmei. After traveling here for half a month, everyone finally arrived at the place where the 6th Order spiritual veins were located. As soon as he arrived, Lin Haoyang felt refreshed. The spiritual qi of this 6th Order spiritual vein just wanted to be comfortable, and the spirit power in his body had to run much faster. Just after arriving at the 6th Order spiritual channel, Zuo Qianji looked excited and said, Zongxing Gongyu, I didn't expect this place to be such a treasure. Lin Haoyang was stunned when he heard this. He had heard about the terrain before, and even heard some rumors. I heard that some terrain can improve sect and family fortune. If you find a good terrain, you can keep sect and your family prosperous. And Zuo Qianji's Zongxing Gongyu topography was an excellent topography. After being mentioned by Zuo Qianji, everyone did discover something unusual. They saw the 12 fifth-order spiritual veins centered on the 6th-order spiritual veins, hundreds of 4th-order spiritual veins, and hundreds of 3. The 1st-order spiritual veins are all born towards the 6th-order spiritual veins. The appearance of paying homage to a prince, such a terrain, is what the world calls the Star Gong Yu terrain. That bright moon is the spiritual vein of this 6th-order low grade. Perhaps it is precisely because of the special terrain of this place that the half-moon candle dragon will occupy this place, otherwise, with his strength, he will definitely occupy a higher-level spiritual vein. Lin Haoyang secretly rejoiced in his heart. Such a precious place, it would have been too early to be the gate of Xuanzhen sect. With such a large area, even if Xuanzhenzong's future scale increased tenfold or 100-fold, it would be a problem. Afterwards, everyone boarded the spirit channel and began to settle in this 6th-order spirit channel. Afterwards, everyone learned from Ouyangji that Xinhao had made preparations early and came to this 6th-order spiritual vein in advance. Soon after he arrived, there were 3 Tier 5 demonic beasts who wanted to steal this genius low treasure, but they were all killed by Ouyangji. Not only did they fail to get the chance, they lost their own lives. Immediately, Zhao Duanlong ordered a thorough search of the entire 6th-order spiritual vein and not allowed to leave a demonic beasts. Sure enough, when searching the mountains, the 3 cultivators found many hidden demonic beasts. These demonic beasts were discovered one after another, and then they were solved. Only then did the entire 6th-order spiritual veins be cleared and cleaned. However, it is a pity that this 6th-order spiritual vein has just formed, and the 6th-order spiritual plant has not yet been conceived. The most valuable is nothing more than a 5-tier high-grade qibao tree. This qibao tree is almost tens of thousands of years old. Happily, the 7 or 79 fruits of the qibao tree are close to maturity, and I am afraid it will not take long before they can be eaten. In addition to the qibao tree, there is also a treasure here, but it has been sealed by Ouyangji, and restrictions have been set up. No one knows what it is. Because of the vision of Gongyu of the stars, this 6th-order spiritual vein was finally named Baiyu Mountain and belonged to Jilingxi. In addition to the large amount of demonic beasts materials, the 3 cultivators can choose one of the 3 cultivators to occupy the Zongyu Mountain that was first developed. Even so, the 3 cultivators are considered to be full of money. For the 4th-order demonic beasts inner pill, Qingyan and Xuanzong each received 20 pieces this time. Tier 5 demonic beasts inner alchemy, each house is divided into 2, and there is 1 corpse of Tier 5 demonic beasts. As for Tier 6 demonic beasts, there is no allocation for the 2 cases. After all, at Tier 6, nascent soul can no longer be contaminated. As for Xuanzhenzong, he belonged to his own family and was stationed in Baiyu Mountain. As for the 3 spiritual veins of the highest development, Qingyan sect chose Zongyu Mountain, Zhongshan Tower chose Quanyang Mountain, and the remaining Qian Mountain was occupied by Xuanzhen sect. But now, the Xuanzhen sect does not have extra energy to take care of Qi Yunshan, and can only get rid of it to the 2 sects, Qingyan sect and Chongshan Tower, to take care of it together. Qingyan and Zhongshan are naturally happy. After all, the value of a 5th-order spiritual vein is too great. Taking down Zhang Yushan, the development of Qingyan sect has also reached a bottleneck stage. Because of the limitation of the number of nascent soul cultivators, they can no longer continue to expand. If you continue to fight like this, you will not be able to make up for it, and you will be under scrutiny in the future. So after harvesting Zhang Yushan, Zuo Qianji stopped and continued to attack the wilderness, and turned to develop a few Tier 3 spiritual veins with all his strength. Especially Zhang Yu Mountain. There are 2 Tier 5 spirit mines in it, the value of which has surpassed Fanyu Mountain. Zuo Qianji even ordered the remaining teleportation formation to be used on Zongyu Mountain and Fanyu Mountain. In this way, the 3 5th-order spiritual veins were completely linked. On the side of the Chongshan Tower, Su Qin stayed to develop Quanyang Mountain, and Xian returned to defend the Dongli Mountain. Su Linger also stayed in Quanyang Mountain by the way. As for Qi Yunshan, in addition to Su Linger, Qingyunzong excluded by Qingyan and Lin Xuanlin from the Chongshan Tower. So, Lin Haoyang wouldn't say anything, and he would use his heart to build it. The news of the Sanzong winning the 6th order spiritual veins spread wildly in the three kingdoms of Wu, Zheng, and Song. Some people regretted, some were surprised, and even more so, they directly convened a meeting and decided to immediately mobilize troops against the wilderness. But the one who regrets it the most is probably those of the major inland sects. They thought about their spiritual veins for a long time, but they were snatched by the Jilingxi line, and they didn't dare to talk nonsense. 61%. Chapter 365. Yuehua Condensation. After the Qingyun and Chongshan sects were withdrawn, Zhao Duanlong received the news that the Longtuzi line had successfully captured the 6th order spiritual veins. As a result, the 5 6th order spiritual veins were the second of the human races. With the other 3 6th order spiritual pulses, it forms a cord of resistance against rituals, but now, whether it is the extreme spiritual pulse or the Dragon 2-1, they do not intend to continue to use the other 3 6th order spiritual pulses. In addition to the threat of the 2 Tier 6 top-grade demonic beasts, the other 3 Tier 6 spirit veins are too deep into the wilderness. If they march rashly, even if they now have 5 incarnations here, I am afraid that there will be no benefit by then. Baiyu Mountain is really too big, relying on Xuanzhenzong's manpower is not enough, and besides Baiyu Mountain, there are 12 5th-order spiritual veins around, waiting for them to develop. Zhao Duanlong had no choice but to temporarily occupy 4 of the 5th-order spiritual veins, and sent 8 nascent souls to sit in the town and search for the treasures by the way. As for the other 8 Tier 5 spirit veins, they are temporarily idle, allowing demonic beasts to continue to occupy them. However, Zhao Duanlong still left a mark on each mountain. When someone wanted to capture this place, everyone would know that these 8 spiritual veins belong to Baiyu Mountain. After the war ended, the rogue cultivators from Xuanzhen sect were also dismissed, but to Lin Haoyang's surprise, 80% of these people were willing to join Xuanzhen sect. Lin Haoyang certainly welcomes this unexpected joy. After planting restrictions in their spirits, they formally joined the Xuanzhen sect. In this way, more than 300 cultivators have been added to Xuanzhenzong out of thin air. They agreed to join the Azure Cloud sect so easily, firstly because the profound spirit behind the Xuanzhen sect had a bright future. Secondly, if you join Xuanzhen sect, you can continue to stay in Baiyu Mountain, which is a 6th-order spiritual vein, and their cultivation speed is almost 1.5 times faster than before. At the same time, Xuanzhenzong really has no shortage of cultivation resources. Today, Lin Haoyang has taken out more than 100 foundation building pills, except for the pension only, and there is a large amount of surplus that can be exchanged. Although those rogue cultivators took advantage this time, they still don't have enough savings to exchange for the foundation building Dan. In this way, going back to continue to be rogue cultivators, and living a life of wandering and helplessness, it is better to join the Xuanzhen sect and have a monthly bonus, so that they can get enough to exchange for the spirit stones of the foundation building, and it will be a lot easier. The Jiling line will spend 50 years in the wild, and now that Baiyu Mountain has been laid down, it must be well developed, because the cultivation resources in the next 50 years will almost be self-sufficient. Jilingxi will not care about them, nor will the Zhanmeng care about them until the fairy tomb is opened. To Lin Haoyang's surprise, Duan Hong actually took out a 4th-order teleportation array and 4 3rd-order teleportation arrays. Such precious things were carried with him in advance. It turned out that after learning the news of the fairy tomb, Zhao Duanlong asked Duan Hong to prepare early. They might have to spend a long time in the border and wasteland in the future. As a nail, they were fixed in the wild. At the same time, Jilingxi also gave a large number of spirit stones to prepare them, so Duan Hong bought these teleportation arrays. And most importantly, a 6th-tier defensive formation. Although Duan Hong's formation division is only a 5th-tier high grade, just the layout alone is no problem at all. These formations are all arranged by the 6th-order formation division. Later, Duan Hong took his disciples and continued to arrange formation and teleportation formations. The distance between Baiyu Mountain and the other 4 5th-order spiritual veins is within 30,000 miles, and the 3rd-order teleportation array is enough. The distance from Baiyu Mountain to Zongyu Mountain is too far, and only Tier 4 can be used. With the addition of the original Xuanzhenzong Own 1, Xuanzhenzong can realize from Chenzhongya to Baiyu Mountain, making the development of Baiyu Mountain infinitely faster. Lin Haoyang paid for it out of his own pocket and once again recruited a large number of people from Chenzhongya and Saihei Mountain to invest urgently in the development of Baiyu Mountain. In this way, the number of people of Baiyu Mountain has finally exceeded 2,000 people, but Baiyu Mountain is too big and the area to be developed is only 1/10. But just this 1/10 of the area made Xuanzhenzong a lot of money, because in Baiyu Mountain, a large-scale spirit stones mine was discovered, which can produce 150,000 spirit stones every month. The discovery of the large-scale spirit stones mine solved the problem of the shortage of spirit stones of Xuanzhenzong. The development of this large-scale spirit stones mine also mentioned the first place. Lin Haoyang even assigned 500 people to develop with all his strength and strive to have spirit stones production as soon as possible. Out. In addition to the spirit stones mine, Baiyu Mountain has many other resources, and Lin Haoyang also classified and developed them in batches. In this spirit stones mine, the extreme spirit line is 5 to 5 points from the Xuanzhen sect. Even so, the Xuanzhen sect has more than 70,000 spirit stones accounted for each year, and it can be considered that the Xuanzhen sect has the light of the extreme spirit line. However, Ji Lingyi didn't care about it. 70,000 spirit stones a year were nothing to them. Lin Haoyang needed to deal with big and small things, making Lin Haoyang very busy. One day, Zhao Duanlong called Lin Haoyang. Even if Lin Haoyang was so busy, the two of them never helped, because the strength and status are here, and these things don't need them to worry about. Zhao Duanlong and Ouyang occupy the place where the spirit stones of Baiyu Mountain are richest, and they are also where the moon of the stars Gongyu is. This time Zhao Duanlong came to Lin Haoyang to show him the true treasure of Baiyu Mountain. Haoyang, the sixth-order spiritual veins, must be able to breed sixth-order spiritual things, and the spiritual things bred here are under us. Zhao Duanlong said. Lin Haoyang's eyes lit up, and he suddenly became interested. Although he knew that this sixth-order spiritual creature would definitely have no relationship with him, it still didn't hinder him. If, like Qianyuan Mountain, the sixth-order comprehension here is a kind of reproducible spirit creature, then he is not making a lot of money. Sooner or later, Baiyu Mountain belongs to Xuanzhen sect. By then, isn't this sixth-order spiritual creature belonging to Xuanzhen sect? Zhao Duanlong took out his big black hammer and saw him throw it to the ground. The terrifying power of the big black hammer suddenly crushed the ground, forming a circular cavity. Obviously, on the ground where the three of them stayed, there was a huge hole in the ground, and that hole was the place where the treasure was. The hole was huge, and after waiting for 7 or 8 breaths, Lin Haoyang heard the sound of the big black hammer landing. Without saying a word, Zhao Duanlong jumped out of the void. Ouyang glanced at Lin Haoyang and then jumped down. Lin Haoyang gritted his teeth and jumped down. As soon as he entered the underground cavity, Lin Haoyang felt an extremely rich spirit power, which was stronger than the sixth-order spiritual veins outside. In the huge dark space, it is not completely dark. Except for a beam of light that enters at the entrance of the cave emits a faint white fluorescence, just like a bright moon at night. Falling behind the two of Zhao Duanlong and Ouyang followed them, and continued to walk forward. The ground of the hollow was very flat, as if it had been cut by a knife and an axe. The hollow was also very large, with a height of more than 200 meters. Lin Haoyang could not see the stone wall under the visible line of sight. The more you go forward, the brighter the silver light. After walking for about a stick of incense, Zhao Duanlong and Ouyang stopped one after another. Lin Haoyang followed the gazes of the two of them. Before that, there was a pale silver pool of water. This is the spiritual thing, Yuehua condenses. Ouyang said. 61%. Chapter 366. Forced cultivation. It is a pool of water, rather than a pool, about 2 meters square. As for how deep this pool of Yuehua condensation is, Lin Haoyang's divine sense fell into it, and he couldn't even penetrate into the Yuehua condensation. Lin Haoyang smiled bitterly. The sixth-order spiritual creature is powerful, and with the strength of his divine sense, he can't help it. Yuehua condensation, exuding a faint fragrance, Lin Haoyang just smelled it, and felt that his whole body was full of blood and flesh, exuding extremely strong desire. This kind of longing is very similar to the first time he saw the life crystal. It was a kind of longing from the origin of life. Haoyang, good fortune weak heavenly tribulation. The universe part should be easier for you. You are already familiar with the road when you turn on acupoints. But for the part of good fortune, you have not yet started cultivation. Since you have entered the cultivation technique, you must master this cultivation technique. From now on, you will use this moonflower to condense cultivation, and I will set up restrictions for you, which can only be opened when the first layer is turned on. If the training fails, you will stay in it forever. We will arrange for someone to deal with the Xuanzhen sect's affairs. Don't worry about that. After Zhao Duanlong said, He took out a purple spirit fruit from his storage bag, threw it to Lin Haoyang, and said, "This is a 5th stage mid-grade purple moon fruit, which can help you convert the cultivation base ascension to the golden core 3-layer late stage. Take the opportunity." After Lin Haoyang listened, his face was full of bitterness. He didn't expect him to be forced to cultivate one day. In recent years, his cultivation base has made rapid progress, even surpassing Bai Qingyan's strange spiritual roots. In the eyes of outsiders, Lin Haoyang is definitely a cultivation genius. I am afraid that only in the eyes of Zhao Duanlong and Ouyang Ji, he is a cultivation procrastination and slow progress. 2 seniors, Yuehua Ninglu is a tier 6 spiritual thing this time, don't you take some? Besides, senior brother Duan Hong. Lin Haoyang was interrupted by Zhao Duanlong before he finished speaking. We don't need this Yuehua condensation anymore, let alone your brother Duan Hong. If it hadn't been for that incident, he would have broken through, and these Yuehua condensation would be a waste to him. Zhao Duanlong said with anger. Lin Haoyang was frightened by Zhao Duanlong. It was the first time he saw Zhao Duanlong angry. It was because of Duan Hong. What caused Duan Hong to anger Zhao Duanlong? Outside Baiyu Mountain, Duan Hong was building the 6th order mountain protection formation. Suddenly his whole body trembled, and the cold behind his back was cold. Duan Hong shrank, and without thinking about it, he knew that it was Zhao Duanlong who was scolding him. It was not once or twice in these years, but the hurdle in his heart still strode past. His woman died in his arms. Lin Haoyang has been refined by Zhao Duanlong. The restrictions are very strange. They should have been placed by the heavenly tribulation of good fortune week. Lin Haoyang can feel that if he cultivates the first level of good fortune, it will be easy to unlock the restrictions. If he fails to cultivate, I am afraid that he will break through the nascent soul and it will be difficult for him to break through this formation. Just as Lin Haoyang looked helpless, Zhao Duanlong and Ouyang Ji left. Looking at the empty underground space, Lin Haoyang felt helpless, but he hadn't experienced such a quiet cultivation time for a long time. A smile appeared at the corner of Lin Haoyang's mouth. It happened that he was dealing with Xuanzhenzong's chores, and his scalp was numb these days. Now it is rare to take a break, which is not bad. Good fortune week heavenly tribulation. Lin Haoyang has always had insight, but it was delayed due to various reasons. When he was outside the jagged city, he saw the power of good fortune cultivation technique, and he was actually looking forward to the cultivation of this cultivation technique. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang cast his gaze to the moonlight condensation in that pool, and the effect of such a 6th order spiritual creature even surpassed the life crystal in his hand. Xiaojin, come out and see this month Wan Ninglu, how to use it, is it swallowed raw or applied externally? Lin Haoyang said to On Dantian. When Zhao Duanlong left, he also forgot to ask about the usage of Yuehua condensation, and was forced to ask Xiao Jinlong for help. Urged by Lin Haoyang, the little golden dragon unhurriedly emerged from the uke, and then drilled out of Lin Haoyang's Dantian space. Yuehua condensation, this is a good thing. At the moment when she saw Yuehua condensation, Xiao Jinlong came to his spirits. Then he came to the pool where Yuehua was condensed, took a big breath, and said with satisfaction. Yuehua condensed dew, of course, is for drinking. I think there was a kind of fairy brew when I was in the immortal world. It was made with Yuehua condensed. The taste of that fairy brew is really amazing. Good. The little golden dragon was full of memories, looking happy, but Lin Haoyang doubted for a year that the little golden dragon was just a Dao item spirit, and he could drink the fairy brew in the immortal world. However, Lin Haoyang did not interrupt him, but asked again. Now I want to cultivate the good fortune part of good fortune week heavenly tribulation. Although I have been inquiring about good fortune cultivation technique for a long time, I don't know how to use this Moonhua condensation to achieve the best effect. A smile appeared on the corner of Xiao Jinlong's mouth. Returning from the memory, he said. Then you are asking the right person. I also watched your good fortune week heavenly tribulation cultivation technique. It's still something. The part of good fortune is to absorb foreign objects and strengthen your origin. Your recovery will increase dramatically. If your origin reaches the limit that the human body can withstand, even if your soul is cut off, the physical body will not die. Thousands of years later, your physical body will give birth to a new spirit, resurrecting the world. Quote. Lin Haoyang heard it mysteriously, the soul is dead, and the body is immortal. Regardless of whether it is true or not, he will say that the reborn spirit is still the former him. Not that Lin Haoyang didn't think so much, the limit of the origin, then even if he cultivated the good fortune Zhou heavenly tribulation cultivation to the extreme, I am afraid that it would not reach that level. So, these Yuehua condensations should be swallowed, and then cooperate with the good fortune cultivation technique, right? Lin Haoyang said. Little Jinlong nodded, then swallowed another mouthful of Yuehua condensation, and then returned to Lin Haoyang's dantian. Although Wan Ninglu this month is a good thing, it has little effect on the little golden dragon, but it can be used to relieve gluttons. Little Jinlong returned to the dantian space. Lin Haoyang was not idle, and immediately the lotus position was on the ground, and he started to operate the cultivation technique of his good fortune part. With the operation of the cultivation technique, Lin Haoyang can clearly feel the original power in his body, because after taking a lot of genius treasures, Lin Haoyang's original power is much stronger than ordinary people. If the origin of the normal golden core cultivator is the size of an egg, then Lin Haoyang's origin is the size of a fist. This is the advantage of the body cultivator. Although the cultivation base is not as fast as the ordinary cultivator, the body's aging will slow down and the lifespan will be longer. The cultivation technique operates. A strange cultivation technique operation root appears in Lin Haoyang's body. It is very different from the normal spirit power operation. If Ling Li operates according to this route, I am afraid Lin Haoyang will require qi deviation. Soon, Lin Haoyang understood that this was the root of the bizarre energy in Duanhong that day. Lin Haoyang tried to mobilize a trace of the source of power to follow this route. Not out of Lin Haoyang's expectation, after the power of the original source embarked on a strange rotation route, it seemed to have been alienated, transformed into that kind of energy. Suddenly, Lin Haoyang used his finger as a knife to cut through a trace of skin with difficulty. He wanted to experiment to see if it was the kind of energy that could quickly repair wounds. 61%. Chapter 367. Lin Haoyang urged the energy from his own source to rush to the wound, but in an instant, the wound was completely healed, leaving only a white mark, and after a few breaths, even the white mark was not left behind. Seeing this, Lin Haoyang was overjoyed. The power of this good fortune cultivation technique was stronger than he thought by 3 points. This kind of energy, Lin Haoyang didn't know what it was called. For the time being, it was called the power of good fortune. The power of good fortune is not offensive, but many people admire it, and the power of good fortune in the body is equivalent to an extra point of life-saving protection. Good fortune weak heavenly tribulations good fortune part, in today's human cultivation technique, for the cultivation of the power of good fortune, he said second, no one dared to say second. This is why, the same as the early stage of Hidao, and other Hidao are very afraid of it. I made Ji Lingxi anxious, and she exchanged injuries with you. In the end, you were seriously injured and dying. Ji Lingxi may still be like a okay person. This is the advantage of good fortune weak heavenly tribulation, not afraid of changing injuries, not afraid of group battles, and overpowering the same rank. After mastering the good fortune cultivation technique to his heart, Lin Haoyang has a volume of spirit power in his hand, and a drop of Yuehua condensation leaves the pool and flies towards Lin Haoyang. Yuehua condensation leaves the pool, round like a white pearl. Lin Haoyang did not rush to swallow it. Yuehua condensation is a sixth-order spiritual creature. Even if it is just a drop, it is not something Lin Haoyang can bear today. Lin Haoyang hooked his finger, spirit power turned into a thread, and cut this drop of Yuehua condensate into 2 halves. Lin Haoyang felt a little uneasy. The silk of spirit power did everything again, and cut a drop of Yuehua condensation into neat quarters. Seeing that Yuehua Ninglu was cut into quarters, Lin Haoyang was relieved, opened his mouth and swallowed it, putting a quarter drop of Yuehua Ninglu into his mouth. Although Yuehua condensate was liquid, it didn't have the slightest smell, and it fell directly into Lin Haoyang's stomach following Lin Haoyang's throat. Without waiting for Lin Haoyang to run the good fortune weak heavenly tribulation, Yuehua condensation naturally turned into a silver energy, pouring into Lin Haoyang's limbs. Unlike the original essence of life, Yuehua condensed dew swallowed without any discomfort. What Lin Haoyang felt was a relief for the whole body. The silver light transformed by Yuehua condensed dew made a circle around Lin Haoyang's body, and then poured directly into Lin Haoyang's origin and turned into Lin Haoyang's inner details. The influx of silver light was like a great tonic, and the origin of Lin Haoyang's life expanded sharply. Lin Haoyang's complexion changed abruptly. This month Wan Ninglu was a rare good thing, but not everyone could accept this generous gift. With only a quarter drop of Yuehua condensation, Lin Haoyang felt that his body was about to explode, and there was even a nosebleed out of the nose, which was obvious lack of nourishment. Just when Lin Haoyang was at a loss, the voice of the little golden dragon came in his head. If you don't run your cultivation technique yet, do you want to die? Lin Haoyang suddenly opened his heart and hurriedly ran the good fortune weak heavenly tribulation, and began to extract a large amount of own origin and transform it into the power of good fortune. The origin was extracted, and then started to operate according to the special route of heavenly tribulation of good fortune weak. Lin Haoyang's origin was constantly being supplemented by Yuehua condensation, and at the same time it was extracted by cultivation technique. Between the two, an ingenious balance was formed, preventing Lin Haoyang from bursting to death. The last quarter drop of Yuehua condensation allowed Lin Haoyang's origin to be supplemented for 6 hours before it gradually dissipated and was completely consumed. This is Lin Haoyang. If it were replaced with another golden core, I am afraid that it would have been blown up by this quarter drop of Yuehua condensation. Although the effect of Yuehua condensation disappeared, it took Lin Haoyang a day and a night to consume most of the origin of the growth of Yuehua condensation. Even so, it still made Lin Haoyang's origin soar, and Lin Haoyang could feel that he Dushuyuan has grown a little bit. If this thing falls to the outside world, I don't know how many old monsters with dry life are vying for it, but here in Lin Haoyang, there is a big pool full of it, and he even dislikes the effect that it is too good, and almost makes up for it. After Lin Haoyang disperses cultivation technique, his Dantian gold core, in addition to the previous black and red color, now has a ray of special white energy besides the gold core. This energy is the power of good fortune. With just a quarter drop of the moonflower dew, Lin Haoyang condensed a ray of good fortune power, so it seems that the first layer of heavenly tribulation of good fortune weak condenses 360 ray of good fortune power. It's not difficult. According to the current progress, it probably only takes 1 year for Lin Haoyang to build the first layer of the good fortune part. Lin Haoyang's cultivation was so relaxed because there was this pool of Yuehua condensation, but when Zhao Duanlong, Ouyang Ji, and Duanhong were in cultivation, they were not so good. At that time, in order to condense the power of these good fortunes, almost all of them went bankrupt. This is why, the second generation of Ji Lingxi's line does not pass on the part of good fortune cultivation technique, because it is too costly, and if it is not for atmospheric transportation, it is not enough to consume it like this. Just talking about Yuehua condensation, it is nascent soul, it is difficult to get a drop, let alone golden core, it is also Lin Haoyang's luck. Asking Ji Ling's line to seize this spiritual line, it happened to meet this Yuan Ninglu. Although Zhao Duanlong, Ouyang Ji and others didn't say anything, they were still jealous of Lin Haoyang's luck. Lin Haoyang didn't know this, and now he is indulging in the power of transforming good fortune. With Lin Haoyang's constant understanding of Yuehua gel, and its adaptability continued to strengthen, 3 months later, Lin Haoyang was able to take half a drop of Yuehua gel at a time. At this time, Lin Haoyang's body of good fortune filaments was close to 100, which was much faster than Lin Haoyang had expected in a year. In the past 3 months, Lin Haoyang has been able to swallow 3/4 of Yuehua condensation at a time, and the number of good fortune threads in his body has reached 300. One day after a month, Lin Haoyang finally condensed the 360 good fortune silks. The 360 good fortune silks surrounded his inner alchemy, making the inner alchemy space a little more dazzling. 360 good fortune silks rotate, which means that the good fortune part of Lin Haoyang has been completed for the first time. When the 360 good fortune silk was completely formed, Lin Haoyang suddenly shook his whole body, and the good fortune cultivation technique turned on its own. The silk of good fortune in Lin Haoyang's Dantian space began to change. These silks of good fortune merged into 360 silks of good fortune, and finally 45 round beads were synthesized. These beads were once again combined with 9, melted into 5 colorful orbs. The power of good fortune contained in the 5 colorful orbs is several times that of the silk of good fortune before. These colorful orbs, called good fortune orbs, are the real objects condensed by the power of good fortune in the second layer of good fortune cultivation technique. When Lin Haoyang condenses into 360 good fortune orbs, he will enter the second stage of good fortune cultivation technique. Time to layer. Lin Haoyang has been in this closed-door training for 7 months, and he completed the first layer of good fortune 5 months earlier, which is far beyond Lin Haoyang's expectations. Since the first level of good fortune has been trained by Lin Haoyang, it is natural to crack the restrictions under Zhao Duanlong's cloth. However, Lin Haoyang was not in a hurry. Naturally, such an excellent opportunity for cultivation could not be wasted, and then Lin Haoyang continued to refine Yuehua condensation. By 8 months, Lin Haoyang was already able to condense a good fortune orb in 1 month, and the refining speed increased greatly. At the 9th month, Lin Haoyang stopped temporarily. Now Lin Haoyang has 6 good fortune orbs in his body, and he is not in a hurry, so he takes out the purple spirit fruit. He plans to grow cultivation base to golden core 3-layer late stage. In the past 9 months, Lin Haoyang cultivation base has hardly been deposited, which makes him very uncomfortable. 62%. Chapter 368. Heavy Treasure Born. With the experience of taking Yuehua condensation, Lin Haoyang was also sure of taking this 5th-order spirit fruit. However, the effect of purple linguo was much more irritable than Yuehua Ninglu, which made Lin Haoyang suffer a lot. After taking the purple spirit fruit, Lin Haoyang felt itchy all over his body, but in order to run the cultivation technique and absorb spirit power, he couldn't suppress the itching. After resisting for more than 20 days, Lin Haoyang finally absorbed all the effects of the purple spirit fruit, and with the help of the purple spirit fruit, Lin Haoyang's cultivation base also came to the top of the 3rd floor of the golden core, which was better than Zhao Duanlong had originally expected. This is because Lin Haoyang has absorbed 90% of the purple spirit fruit's medicinal effect with Yuehua condensation as a primer. If he hadn't had the experience of absorbing Yuehua condensation, Lin Haoyang's absorption efficiency would be only 70% at most, and Lin Haoyang would have to worry about whether he would be burst by the purple spirit fruit. After absorbing the purple spirit fruit, Lin Haoyang did not rush out. Since Zhao Duanlong promised to help him watch Xuanzhenzong, then he was also happy and continued to condense the good fortune orb by staying in Yuehua Du. But when Lin Haoyang just condensed the 7th good fortune orb, an aura suddenly flew into the restrictions. This is a sound transmission talisman refined by Zhao Duanlong, and it is naturally free to shuttle and prohibit. There was news from Zhao Duanlong that it was speculated that there was the location of the treasure, but the bright light suddenly soared to the sky 1 day ago. The letter also said that Zhao Duanlong and others wanted to explore. If Lin Haoyang succeeded in training the 1st level of good fortune, he could go and see the birth of that heavy treasure. If you don't practice, you will continue to stay underground until you can unlock the restrictions. Seeing this, a smile appeared on the corner of Lin Haoyang's mouth. How could Zhao Duanlong know that he had already broken through the 1st layer of good fortune in the 7th month of closed-door training, and now he has condensed 7 good fortune beads? Although there are only 7 good fortune orbs, for Lin Haoyang, this is equivalent to 7 chances to save his life. The good fortune orb is the 2nd form of the power of good fortune. Each orb contains 72 good fortune threads. Therefore, unless Lin Haoyang is fatally wounded and killed by a single blow, Lin Haoyang can also recover with the 7 gemstones. Lin Haoyang's closed-door training has been around for nearly a year, and the consumption of Yuehua condensation is also pitiful. Even though he wants to leave here, Lin Haoyang will not leave empty-handed. Taking out a jade bottle, Lin Haoyang installed a pot of Yuehua condensation, so even if he left, Lin Haoyang could continue to cultivate good fortune cultivation technique. Moreover, this bottle of Yuehua condensation dew was enough for Lin Haoyang to cultivate for a long time. Looking at this pool of Yuehua condensation, Lin Haoyang was full of emotion. With so many Yuehua condensation, I don't know how many tens of thousands of years it has condensed to become such a treasure. Now that Xuanzhenzong has occupied this place, he can't rush to fish. He must list this place as a forbidden place without any damage. When Lin Haoyang left Zhao Duanlong's restrictions, he just broke a small hole, drilled out of it, and then filled it again. In this way, even if someone finds out here, it's impossible to break Zhao Duanlong's restrictions, which is considered to be the right month. Hua Ninglu's protection. Soon, when Lin Haoyang followed the immortal cave that Zhao Duanlong had broken open before, and returned to the outside world, Lin Haoyang was a little uncomfortable with the dazzling sunlight. Seeing Lin Haoyang coming out, Ouyang Zidao, who was sitting not far away, said, "Congratulations to the younger brother. I became the 1st level of good fortune in less than a year. With such a speed, you can rank 2nd among the 4 of our brothers." Lin Haoyang was slightly startled. He didn't expect Ouyang Ji to stay here, and that is, with his speed, he could only be ranked 2nd. "Brother, who is this number 1? It won't be you." Lin Haoyang suspiciously. From Zhao Duanlong's words, Lin Haoyang knew that the 2nd senior brother On has an extraordinary talent and excellent aptitude. But what Lin Haoyang didn't expect was that Ouyang Ji actually shook his head and said, I can only shoot in the third. At that time, it took a year and 3 days to complete the first level. At the end of your master, it took 1 year and 3 months. The fastest is your third senior brother, who completed the second level in only 9 months. Quote. Lin Haoyang frowned, only 9 months at the earliest. Is it too fast to cultivate yourself? The second floor was completed in only 7 months. Just when Lin Haoyang was proud, Yangji said evilly at the corner of his mouth. When we first cultivation, the resources were all earned by ourselves. At that time, the master just broke through and joined the road. We ran out of possessions and owed a foreign debt. We didn't have the same treatment as you, and we had the 6th rank. Spiritual creatures come to cultivation. Listening to this, Lin Haoyang was taken aback, and then his face was full of embarrassment. He had forgotten this. If it was all by himself, he really didn't dare to say what effect the 2 life crystals could achieve. Thinking of his proud look just now, Lin Haoyang was shy and said, Second brother, I'm leaving now, senior brother is still waiting for me. After all, Lin Haoyang slipped away. After Lin Haoyang left, Yangji didn't know what he was underestimating in a low voice, but from the looks of it, it should be related to Lin Haoyang's quick exit. Lin Haoyang didn't dare to look back at Yangji's expression because of his guilty conscience. However, the glorious vision in the northwest direction still attracted Lin Haoyang's attention. The birth of a heavy treasure must give birth to a vision, but the vision is so huge that it is not related to his own characteristics, but this treasure, enough heaven-defying. Regardless of the reason, Lin Haoyang had to go and take a look, otherwise the mentality of seeing Baoshan and not being treasured might make Lin Haoyang suffocated. All the way to Yukongpi, Lin Haoyang went from the top of Baiyu Mountain to the mountainside of Baiyu Mountain. This year, Baiyu Mountain can be said to have undergone earth-shaking changes. After Lin Haoyang's closed-door training, the news that Xuanzhenzong occupied a Tier 6 dragon vein spread like wildfire, and a large number of 5 returnable rogue cultivators flooded in. Chen Zhongye wanted to worship the mountain gate. However, at this time, the head of Xuanzhenzong has been temporarily replaced by Zhao Duanlong, so the group of rogue cultivators who are eager to join has been strictly screened and strict regulations have been formulated. Xuanzhenzong recruits disciples every year, but if you want to join Xuanzhenzong, it is also conditional. Regardless of the cultivation base, you must make a soul oath of never betraying Xuanzhenzong, and then go through the torture of the state of mind and strength. Only by testing can they pass Xuanzhenzong's assessment. The soul oath guarantees the loyalty of rogue cultivators to Xuanzhenzong, and asks the state of mind to ensure that there will be no demon cultivator in the most sinful generations. The strength test has marked Xuanzhen's bottom line. For those Shantian cultivators who didn't even have a chance to cultivate and condense the veins, Zhao Duanlong directly refused. Only those who pass the assessment can join Xuanzhenzong as a disciple of outer sect, those who are excellent are disciples of inner sect, those who are accepted as disciples by golden core are true disciples, those who are accepted as disciples by nascent soul are core disciple. In the end, there were more than 800 people who used the selection of Xuanzhenzong, including 3 golden core rogue cultivators. When Lin Haoyang saw this, he was shocked and inexplicable, knowing that this must be Zhao Duanlong's handwriting, because Lin Qianlong and others could never think of such a plan. And this selection of sect disciples was only a change after Zhao Duanlong took charge of Xuanzhenzong, and other aspects made Lin Haoyang even more surprised. When Lin Haoyang found Zhao Duanlong was preparing to leave. When he saw Lin Haoyang, he was quite surprised. He didn't expect Lin Haoyang to actually leave the customs. But when Lin Haoyang saw Zhao Duanlong, he bowed deeply and said, Senior brother thanked brother. Xuanzhen thanked brother. 62%. Chapter 369. Zhao Duanlong completely accepted Lin Haoyang's worship. Over the past year, he has indeed done a lot for Xuanzhenzong. It can even be said that Zhao Duanlong laid the foundation for Xuanzhenzong to become a major sect in the future. The development of a sect, rules and systems are fundamental, and Zhao Duanlong's help can be said to have made Xuanzhenzong less detours for decades. Before, Lu Shiwen, Ma Jingde, and others were worried that the elder of the Xuanzhen sect's reputation in the Jiling line would completely empty the Xuanzhen sect, but now it seems that the decision they made was correct. Okay, don't talk so much nonsense. Since you can come out of my restrictions, it means that you are also eligible to participate in this operation. Sit down yourself, Zhao Duanlong said. Lin Haoyang smiled, and someone immediately gave Lin Haoyang a seat. Although Lin Haoyang only had the Golden Core cultivation base, he was the head teacher of the Xuanzhen sect and the fourth disciple of the Jilingxi, and his status was extremely high. In the presence of Zhao Duanlong, the nascent soul of the very soul child must be respectful. For this, Lin Haoyang has persuaded him many times, saying that his cultivation base is still low, and nascent soul cultivator does not need to be like this. Everyone just smiled. Every time they met Lin Haoyang, they were still respectful. This kind of rigorous generation, in general, was still under the influence of Jilingxi, which was her deterrent. Looking at everyone here, the nascent soul of the Jilingxi line is basically there. Among the Golden Core cultivator, there are only the extremely powerful 9th level Golden Core, but Lin Haoyang has not seen Cao Lu. However, Cao Ying ranks among them, and she is still struggling with Lin Haoyang's gestures. Since Cao Ying obtained the cultivation technique, the cultivation base has improved by leaps and bounds, finally showing off the talent of the spiritual roots. In just over 2 years, in less than 3 years, Cao Ying has broken through the 8th level of the Golden Core, breaking through the 2 realms in a row, and the cultivation base has entered the realm very quickly. On Xuanzhenzong's side, only Lin Qianlong and Bai Zonkang were once again. Among the crowd, the 2 were the weakest, with a Golden Core at 3 levels and a Golden Core at 6 levels. In addition, Zhuo Qianji, Zhou Zunyuan, and Su Qin were also on the list, and the 3 of them also decided to participate in the news of the birth of the heavy treasure. Lin Haoyang and the 3 nodded, before sitting down. Since everyone is here, then I will talk about the plan this time. Judging from the current degree of radiance, this thing will be born in about a month, but everyone knows that the scope of the radiance is too wide this time, and there must be a lot of people fighting for it. So this time, they must also be elite, to facilitate combat and evacuation. On the demonic beast side, there are definitely more than 3 tier 6 demonic beasts that can be deployed. They occupy a geographical area and will definitely block the line. We have to find a way to get in. On the human side, in addition to us, there is also a power of transforming gods. Of course, you nascent soul from the marginal sect will also intervene. When the time comes, the personnel will be mixed, and we will not be able to take care of everything. If you want to explore this opportunity, you must also be prepared for the fall. Zhao Duanlong said. After hearing this, everyone looked solemn. Just as Zhao Duanlong said, this treasure hunt is very dangerous. If you don't pay attention, you may die during the period. However, no one will back down. The cultivator practice is heaven-defying and may die at any time. If you are afraid of danger, you will not fight. I am afraid that the path will not last long. Afterwards, Zhao Duanlong made arrangements again, and only then did the meeting adjourn. Tomorrow, everyone will set out to rush to the place where the heavy treasure was born. At the same time, to the north of Baiyu Mountain, Longtuzi's line was also ready to set off to the low point where Zongbao was born. Song State, Zheng State, Song State, and Zhao State to the south, are all moving, and there are a large number of cultivators rushing to the depths of the wilderness, including a large number of rogue cultivators. For this kind of heavy treasures, rogue cultivators like to blend together. Among them, there are even rogue cultivators in the nascent soul realm. A large number of cultivators rushed to the depths of the wild. The cheapest one is the Xuanzhenzong, because there is a teleportation formation leading to Baiyu Mountain in Chenzhongya, which can help them save a lot of time. This time, there were thousands of people who borrowed Qianzongya's teleportation formation, and they all wanted to try their luck when they went up to Nascent Soul and down to Ningmei. Sending 100 spirit stones at a time, from Chenzhongya to Baiyu Mountain, you still need to transfer station once. Just through the teleportation formation, Xuanzhenzong earned close to 200,000 spirit stones this time, really earning a lot of money. It took Xuanzhenzong a day and a night just to send these more than 1,000 people, but the hard work was all worthwhile. But this kind of good thing is rare, and once you encounter it, you will lose one. On the second day, Lin Haoyang and others also set off to that precious place. The number of people in this operation was less than 50, but they were all elite. Among them, there are 2 Washins, 11 nascent souls, and 20 golden cores. Finally, at Lin Haoyang's request, both Lin Qianlong and Bai Zonkang were persuaded by Lin Haoyang to stay in Baiyu Mountain. Although the 4 borderlands and rogue cultivators were very active this time, they all thought about great opportunities, but what Lin Haoyang saw was a crisis. This is related to the battle between the god of transformation and the 6th order demonic beasts. The golden core is in it, and it is of little significance, but the possibility of falling is even greater. This is why Zhao Duanlong asked Lin Haoyang to build the first level of good fortune before letting him go. Reason. With the good fortune orb, plus the treasures from Jilingxi, he should have no problem saving his life. Now that Xuanzhenzong doesn't lack resources, Lin Qianlong and Bai Zonkang don't need to take this risk, but after all, Lin Haoyang is still afraid of an accident between the two. The crowd mingled among the rogue cultivators and went straight to the place where the treasure was born. As everyone rushed to the place where the treasure was born, the light became more obvious, and everyone watching was excited. After going crazy for a month, everyone finally arrived 3 days before Zongbao was born, but the one who greeted them was demonic beasts, which blocked the waters of Baodi. In the sky, there are also 5 Tier 6 demonic beasts hovering in the air, over 100 meters tall, and everyone watching is frightened. Among them, 3 of the 6th tier high grade and 2 of the 6th tier middle ranks are extremely powerful. When rogue cultivators saw the 5 Tier 6 demonic beasts, they felt desperate. They stayed here, and they didn't have much fun at all. Seeing a large number of human races pouring in, a Tier 6 demonic beasts became a little impatient, and shouted angrily. Human, leave here, or I will eat you all. While the 6th order demonic beast spoke, a thunderstorm broke out all over his body, and his body was completely submerged in the sea of thunder. Seeing Lei Hai, many cultivators are soft at their feet, and the power of Lei Hai makes their heart palpitations. At this moment, 3 people in the distance flew up suddenly, exuding their own power, completely blocking the pressure of Thunder Sea, and the low-level demonic beasts on the human side were relieved. The appearance of the 3 also made the eyes of the 5 Tier 6 demonic beasts condensed, and they clearly saw their ability to transform gods, and the 3 of them were the 3 cultivators of Dragon Tuzi's line of gods. Human, this place is my wild territory, you have crossed the boundary. Another Tier 6 demonic beast spoke. His whole body was full of flames. At this time, Zhao Duanlong and Ouyangji also moved, left the crowd, and headed straight for the fire. As soon as he appeared, Zhao Duanlong threatened. Treasures here above Tier 5 cannot be shot, otherwise, you can't get things, even if they are ruined, you don't want to get them. 62%. Chapter 370 30,000 meters. The appearance of Zhao Duanlong and Ouyangji made the demonic beasts feel immense pressure. Before, when there were only 3 transformation gods in the line of Longtu, they could still suppress 1 or 2. But with the emergence of Zhao Duanlong and Ouyangji, the high-end combat power of the 2 sides has leveled off. If they really fight, the demonic beast side will not get much benefit. More importantly, once the 2 sides go to war, it is likely to destroy the stable environment here, and the treasures that are gestating are also likely to be destroyed. Finally, the 6th order high-grade thunder beast Dao Hu spoke first. If you are not worried about destroying the treasures inside, you human race would not want to take over a little bit, but this place is my wild land, we occupy 4 or 6 points, who can win the treasure depends on the last good fortune. When Zhao Duanlong and the others heard this, a smile appeared at the corners of their mouths. Although it was 4 to 6 points, their goal had been achieved. Just as Lei Shou said, Lin Haoyang and others have gone deep into the wild at this moment. Although both sides are the same in terms of high-end combat power, in terms of basic combat power, demonic beasts is far beyond, and even crushing Lin Haoyang and others is just a breeze. After a little consideration, Zhao Duanlong and other 5 cultivators agreed to Thunder Beast's request. Subsequently, under the command of Tier 6 demonic beasts, 40% of the land boundary was surrendered, and Lin Haoyang and others took the opportunity to occupy it. Those who can rush to this place are at least foundation building cultivation base, those who can fly with swords. As for the cultivator who rushed to get here, they are probably still on the way. Therefore, the number of people on the human race side does not even exceed 2,000, but these people are elite, but compared with the demonic beast side, they are still a little weak. Demonic beasts cleared the way, allowing Lin Haoyang and the others to finally see the true face of Cheng treasure. However, the face of this treasure made Lin Haoyang and the others frown. The so-called heavy treasure is just a colorful bubble with a diameter of 10 meters. The bubbles seem to be weightless, floating quietly on the ground, and the colorful treasures produced by the bubbles illuminate the world, rendering Lin Haoyang and others very beautiful. Through this colorful bubble, it seems that the whole world is colorful, letting the heart of the Cao Ying girl who is following is overflowing. Lin Haoyang looked at the dreamlike colorful bubbles with a solemn expression in his eyes. Somehow, he always felt that this thing was not simple. After thinking about it, Lin Haoyang pointed a wisp of divine sense towards the colorful bubble. He wanted to see what's magical about this thing. Lin Haoyang let out a hum, and his expression changed wildly afterwards. Just when he plunged divine sense into the colorful bubble, something suddenly swallowed his divine sense. Divine sense was destroyed, and Lin Haoyang was naturally backlashed. When Lin Haoyang looked at the colorful bubble again, it was still the same as before, without any change. Don't use divine sense to detect colorful bubbles, he will devour divine sense. Lin Haoyang whispered. Although the voice was quiet, the people traveling with him this time could still hear him. Combined with Lin Haoyang's previous reaction, everyone also believed in Lin Haoyang. Fortunately, Lin Haoyang only probed into divine sense, which didn't consume much. What? At the same time, many people have explored divine sense into the colorful bubbles. Some reckless people did not separate out a ray of divine sense, but directly entered with divine sense. There were most of divine sense immediately. Be swallowed. This group of people was swallowed a lot of divine sense. The backlash was serious, some were pale, some were bleeding, and even worse, they were swallowed a lot of divine sense and became idiots. Before Zhang Bao was born, the human race suffered such a quick setback, and morale was very low for a while. The 5 cultivators looked very ugly at this moment. They also plunged divine sense into the colorful bubble just now, and they also felt the swallowing power. Cultivation base has arrived at Washan. Their divine sense is already extremely powerful, and their response speed is extremely fast. After a brief encounter with that swallowing force, they successfully retreated divine sense. But in such a moment, Zhao Duanlong and others are 80% sure that the treasure in this colorful bubble must be related to divine sense. Divine sense is extremely difficult to cultivate, even the 6th rank power. There are few cultivation techniques about divine sense, if this treasure is a treasure related to divine sense. So no matter who gets it, the strength will advance by leaps and bounds, and the strength level ascension is huge. Zhao Duanlong and Ouyang Ji glanced at each other. In terms of divine sense, one of them is the weakness of Ji Ling's line, so the two of them discussed that they must take this thing. The Dragon Tu Yi line is not good at divine sense, but it is better than the Ji Ling line. Even so, they do not intend to give up this treasure. Zhao Duanlong and others can guess that this treasure is related to divine sense, and Lin Haoyang can also guess that he has cultivated soul-fixing technique for many years, and he has some experience in divine spirit. At the beginning, Lin Haoyang was able to overcome danger many times with the help of soul concentration, but as his strength increased, the number of uses of soul concentration became less and less. There is no second level of soul fixing, it is a spell of ascension with the caster divine sense ascension. Today, Lin Haoyang's cultivation base is only 30% of golden core, and the power of divine sense is at most 40% to 5 layers of golden core. With his physical ascension, Lin Haoyang's opponents today are mostly in the late stage of golden core, and the role of soul fixing is getting smaller and smaller. If he can borrow this treasure this time and use the power of divine sense to further ascension, then his combat power will be another level of ascension, and he will also have an extra life-saving whole card. Lin Haoyang showed a helpless smile at the corner of his mouth, staring at this precious treasure, and he is not alone. It is not easy to get the chance. What's more, there are the gods and the 6th order demonic beasts staring at them, wanting to seize the chance from them. The difficulty can be imagined. A little bit of time passed, and 3 days soon arrived. As the time for the birth of the treasure is getting closer, no matter whether it is the demonic beasts or the humans, they are all very nervous. Up to now, the coercion emitted by the colorful bubbles has even surpassed the god of transformation, reaching the level of harmony. As the time for the birth of the heavy treasure is approaching, the aura of harmony becomes stronger and stronger. The terrifying aura suppresses the low-level demonic beasts and the human foundation building, making it hard to breathe. Even Lin Haoyang and the others were very uncomfortable as if they were in a deep mud. Seeing this, Zhao Duanlong and the others opened up the spirit power shield to protect the low-level human race in it. As for the demonic beasts, the 5 tier 6 demonic beasts are even bigger. They have too many low-level demonic beasts. Even if they want to protect them, they can't protect them. Finally, the 5 tier 6 demonic beasts will negotiate and let all the demonic beasts below tier 4 all demonic beasts were removed. As a result, the advantage of demonic beasts is greatly reduced, and it becomes a little stretched to defend 60% of the area. At this moment, the colorful bubble suddenly leapt into the air, carrying a dreamlike colorful color into the air. The colorful bubbles have become bigger and bigger, from 10 meters in diameter to 100 meters and kilometers in diameter. In the end, the diameter of the colorful bubbles has exceeded 30,000 meters. transformed into a giant, flying across the air. In front of the colorful bubbles, 5 Tier 6 demonic beasts with a body size of more than 100 meters are just a piece of cake in front of them. 62%. Chapter 371 Secret Realm Space. When everyone looked at the huge colorful bubble, they couldn't help but wonder how to get such a treasure. Everyone hesitated for a moment, and someone shot out and went straight to the huge colorful bubble. The same was true for demonic beasts. Some Tier 4 demonic beasts can't take the air, but with their strong physique, they still ejected and went straight to the colorful bubbles. There are more people here than demonic beasts, because under the protection of the 5 gods cultivator, the foundation building cultivator resisted the suppression of that terrifying aura. As they approached the colorful bubbles, the pressure became stronger and stronger. Even with the protection of the 7 gods, some foundation buildings couldn't hold them and fell to the ground. The 7 transformation gods were the fastest. Almost in an instant, they came to the colorful bubble, but when they touched the colorful bubble, they were bounced and couldn't enter it. Lay Beast was not convinced. He was a Tier 6 top-grade demonic beast. How could it be stopped by a half-step Tier 7 treasure? Afterwards, Lay Beast claws, a white thunder and lightning blasted on the colorful bubble, withstand the lightning strike of the thunder beast. The colorful bubble did not respond much, but the place struck by the thunder and lightning was a little black. The thunder beast attacked the colorful bubble, as if it angered it, and saw a colorful streamer shoot out, hitting Thunder Dragon. The colorful streamer was extremely fast, and the liman didn't dodge in a hurry. When hit by the colorful streamer, the liman suddenly roared in pain. Wow, I saw blood flowing from the eyes of the Thunder Dragon. Don't guess, the Thunder Dragon must have suffered an extremely violent divine sense attack. Seeing this, the other demonic beasts of Cultivator Tier 6 retreated one after another. They didn't want to be hit by that colorful streamer. People die for money and birds die for food. As soon as the cultivator retreats, Nascent Soul Cultivator rushes forward and plunges directly into the colorful bubbles without any discomfort. Seeing this, everyone speeded up and rushed into the colorful bubbles. They only hesitated for a moment. The Hidao Cultivator and God Cultivator who had rushed to the top were left behind. Seeing other people entering the colorful bubble without any hindrance, the 5 golden cores also frowned and came to the side of the colorful bubble. They reached out and touched them, but they were still blocked. Zhao Duanlong and the others sighed helplessly. This colorful bubble should not be allowed to enter the cultivator beyond Nascent Soul Realm. This is also the reason why the Thunder Beast was counterattacked when it struck the colorful bubble with lightning before. Lin Haoyang saw the doubts of Zhao Duanlong and others, and wanted to stop asking why, but Zhao Duanlong's voice came in his head. The upper limit for this thing to enter is the Nascent Soul Pinnacle. We can't enter for the time being. You have to fight for any treasures in it. But remember, although the treasure is good, it must be enjoyed by life. Quote. After listening, Lin Haoyang and others nodded their heads, and then accelerated into the colorful bubbles. Tier 5 demonic beasts obviously also found the colorful bubble blocking. Although they were angry, they arranged Tier 4 and Tier 5 demonic beasts to enter it. Especially their descendants, the 5 Tier 6 demonic beasts, are even more instructed to stop the killing of the human cultivator. On Lin Haoyang's side, everyone from Tongji Lingxi came to the colorful bubble and reached out to touch the colorful bubble. They didn't feel much, and the touch was more like touching the skin. After that, everyone entered the colorful bubbles one after another, but what Lin Haoyang did not expect was that even though there was only a thin film, Lin Haoyang separated from everyone as soon as he stepped into it. The colorful bubble seems to be transmitted immediately. As soon as it enters it, it will be transmitted to a place inside the colorful bubble. Today, Lin Haoyang is in a colorful bubble, but the environment inside this colorful bubble is very peculiar. In it, Lin Haoyang can float in the air without even activating spirit power. The colorful bubble is not a collection of 7 colors, but is divided into 7 areas, one area with 1 color, and Lin Haoyang is now in the blue area. Inside the colorful bubble, Lin Haoyang tried to explore divine sense again, but he found that own divine sense couldn't get out of the sea at all, as if divine sense didn't exist here. Lin Haoyang narrowed his eyes. Colorful bubbles is the most peculiar thing he has ever seen. Is this kind of strange thing born by nature? If this is the case, then it would be incredible. Xiaojin, can you feel what kind of place this is? Lin Haoyang asked Xiaojinlong. However, Xiaojin did not answer Lin Haoyang's question. Lin Haoyang narrowed his eyes, and after a little thought, he realized that every time he called Xiaojin before, he was actually calling with divine sense, but now his divine sense can't come out. Hi, it did make him unable to wake up Xiaojin. Lin Haoyang remembered another thing. He couldn't activate divine sense, then the things in the storage bag, wouldn't it be unusable? One shot of the storage bag, without divine sense urging the spirit pattern on the storage bag did not react at all. Although he could not summon the magical item in the storage bag, Lin Haoyang's mouth was filled with a happy smile. At this moment, 2 killing intent swords suddenly appeared next to Lin Haoyang. Although divine sense was disabled, Lin Haoyang also had killing intent swords. The killing intent swords were actuated by his thoughts and did not require divine sense, so not limited by this world. Lin Haoyang also has the advantage of the physical body. Without the help of magical item, Lin Haoyang borrowed the killing intent swords, and under the sneak attack, even rushed to fight the nascent soul cultivator. It is not Lin Haoyang that will benefit the most, but the demonic beasts. Demonic beasts did not rely on divine sense. Such a treasured place is simply a natural home for them. Roar. A roar sounded not far from Lin Haoyang. Although not far apart, the colorful bubble world is like a world in the clouds, with a large number of clouds blocking the line of sight. No matter what happened on the other side, Lin Haoyang had to take a look. Just as Lin Haoyang wanted to Yukong, he didn't wait for him to activate spirit power, but his body flew forward as soon as his mind moved. The speed was still very fast. When Lin Haoyang came to where the demonic beast's roar was, he saw 2 golden core late-stage demonic beasts competing for a blue crystal. The blue crystal floated quietly in the air. The 2 demonic beasts fought on the sidelines, and it seemed that the 2 demonic beasts were very enthusiastic about the blue crystal and did not allow the other demonic beasts to intervene. The 2 golden core demonic beasts were fighting fiercely. They were desperately trying to give up this blue crystal. The battle started quickly and ended quickly. Less than a quarter of an hour later, the weaker cat demon fled. After being bitten by a wolf demon, he didn't dare to flee. Before leaving, he turned his head 3 times, obviously very reluctant to give up the blue crystal. The wolf demon was cautious, waiting for the cat demon to leave completely. Then the wolf demon came to the blue crystal, ready to swallow it in one bite. At this moment, a gray flying sword suddenly flew out of the blue clouds on the side, passing directly through the wolf demon's chest and abdomen. A large amount of donated blood flowed out, directly exploding the wolf demon's heart, destroying its vitality. This sudden blow completely lost the vitality of the wolf demon who had been severely injured, but before his death, he still saw the blue crystal, and his eyes were full of unwillingness. Obviously right in front of me, but I can't get it. 62%. Chapter 372 Unidentified Crystal. Lin Haoyang manipulated the sword of killing intent and completely cut off its vitality. This tier 4 top-grade wolf demon finally died completely. The wolf demon was killed by a sneak attack, and Lin Haoyang revealed his figure and grabbed the blue crystal. The blue crystal was the size of a fist and the structure was like a crystal. When he grasped it in his hand, Lin Haoyang's face showed ecstasy. Although I don't know the specific name of this thing, Lin Haoyang is sure that this thing can increase divine sense. Lin Haoyang didn't know where this feeling came from. It should be affected by the colorful bubble, and everyone who entered the colorful bubble competed for it. It is very possible that these things are related to the treasures that were born this time. However, it remains to be seen how this thing will be used. The storage bag couldn't be opened. Lin Haoyang couldn't put the blue crystal in the storage bag, but his Dantian space could still be opened. Putting blue into the Dantian space, he came to the corpse of the wolf demon. The wolf demon is not small. Without a storage bag, it is impossible for Lin Haoyang to take them all out. 2 killing intent swords flew, and soon the wolf demon was torn apart, taking out its inner alchemy, and another killing intent sword, slicing off its wolf claws and fangs one by one. These things are almost the most valuable things in this wolf demon, and the size is not too big, his Dantian space can barely fit. With Lin Haoyang's strength ascension, his Dantian space has grown from 1 meter square to 1 meter 5 squares, and there are more things that can be put down. After taking the materials, Lin Haoyang left quickly. The place was so bloody that he was afraid of causing unnecessary trouble. After Lin Haoyang left, the corpse of the wolf demon floated quietly in the air. At this moment, a strange scene happened. I saw that the surrounding blue clouds suddenly surged over, wrapping the corpse of the wolf demon in it and disappearing into the blue. Color time. And those blue clouds are not real clouds. You can hear the area where the wolf demon is surrounded by blue clouds. At this moment, there is a chewing sound. Something is devouring the body of the wolf demon. All this was extremely secretive. Even if Lin Haoyang was so careful, he didn't realize that it was wrong. After leaving, Lin Haoyang has been cautious, trying to hide himself by the clouds. In this useless world of divine sense, this is the safest way. However, as Lin Haoyang stayed in this world for longer, he felt that this world was weird, and he even felt that something was staring at him. Looking around, Lin Haoyang didn't find anything. In doubt, Lin Haoyang kept searching forward. The space inside the colorful bubble is huge. Even if thousands of them and demonic beasts entered at the same time, Lin Haoyang did not meet too many people. So far, Lin Haoyang has not even walked out of the blue area. Suddenly, Lin Haoyang caught a cold behind him, and a cold light shot straight at him. Divine sense was unavailable. Sneak attacks were often the most effective way to fight. Because divine sense is unavailable, Lin Haoyang has not relaxed all around. When the cold light came, Lin Haoyang noticed it for the first time. That handmang was extremely fast, and came straight to Lin Haoyang, and it was impossible to dodge. The shot was already considered good. Lin Haoyang was not able to defend the magical item, and he was 70% sure to hit Lin Haoyang with this strike. Even if Lin Haoyang couldn't kill Lin Haoyang would definitely be seriously injured, and the person who shot would reappear. Lin Haoyang didn't have any chance of turning over. Lin Haoyang also knew that he must have been unable to escape. The sword of killing intent suddenly drilled out of his back, and the blade was slashed on the handmang. The killing intent sword is extremely powerful, even more powerful than the general tier 4 magical item. This cold light should be a barb on the body of a tier 5 demonic beasts. Although it has tier 5, it is not strong enough, and it has not been practiced as a magical item. It just relied on the spirit power package and threw it out with brute force. The killing intent sword slashed on the barb and cut it off directly. Coming and not going to be indecent, Lin Haoyang couldn't have suffered such a loss in vain. With a thought, the sword of killing intent went straight to the direction of the barbed shot. Although the sword of killing intent is made of killing intent, it is not much different from the appearance of ordinary magical item. Seeing that Lin Haoyang is in this world and can still use magical item freely, the person who attacked was shocked, although he was puzzled, but it was the first time he fled. He knew he had kicked the iron plate today. A Taoist shadow suddenly popped out of the blue cloud layer, and quickly withdrew to the distance to see its cultivation base, which was about the 8th floor of the Golden Core late stage. After coming to the colorful bubble world, this person was lucky. Although the storage bag could not be opened, he encountered a tier 5 demonic beasts that had just died. Although the inner core and the most precious materials were taken away, he still pulled out a few barbs. When there is no magical item, this is the best magical item. Unexpectedly, he met Lin Haoyang the first time he did it. When he was even more surprised, Lin Haoyang was even able to urge magical item to see Lin Haoyang kill him, where he immediately jumped out of hiding and flees for his life. Although this person reacted extremely quickly, it was not as fast as the sword of killing intent. After only 2 breaths, the sword of killing intent had already slew behind him. Seeing that he couldn't escape, this person's heart slammed, took out a leg bone, and smashed it at the sword of killing intent. This leg bone was also removed from the body of demonic beasts in which this person was in the 5 poles, and it is temporarily used as a magical item. Bump. The leg bone hit the killing intent sword. With the strength of its tier 5 demonic beasts, it smashed the killing intent sword into the air. This person just showed a smile on his face, and immediately became gloomy, because it was not a killing intent sword, but 2 swords that struck again. 2 killing intent swords strangling from 2 directions. The speed is extremely fast. The sneak attacker can no longer calm down. With the leg bones of tier 5 demonic beasts, he can barely deal with a killing intent sword, but he has no chance of winning with 2 killing intent swords. Fellow Taoist, I was reckless before going down. I am willing to pay compensation. The attacker yelled anxiously. But Lin Haoyang didn't have the slightest intention to stop. The 2 killing intent swords had forced the attackers to desperately hopelessly, and they had even begun to get injured. If this continues, I am afraid that it will not be long before this person will be beheaded by the killing intent double swords. Don't deceive people too much. Li Huo Junjun. With a loud shout, the attacker suddenly dropped the leg bones of tier 5 demonic beasts in his hand, and a large amount of orange flame rose up all over his body. Looking at this, Lin Haoyang frowned. Obviously, this person was starting to work hard, but Lin Haoyang was afraid of him. I saw Lin Haoyang suddenly emerge a large amount of black spirit power, which wrapped Lin Haoyang tightly, and under his skin, there was a flame pattern drilling out, a violent force, compressing the surrounding spirit power crazily. At this moment, Lin Haoyang looked like a human-shaped Tyrannosaurus, who would go into madness, and the people who watched the sneak attack were frightened. He was deeply regretful. Why did he provoke Lin Haoyang in the first place? Isn't this seeking a dead end? Now that it's difficult to ride a tiger, Lin Haoyang obviously doesn't plan to let him go, he can only fight to the death. The flames all over his body swept away the killing intent swords, and the surrounding blue clouds quickly faded away due to the high temperature, as if they were fleeing. However, at this time the two men were fighting vigorously, and they didn't realize this. 62%. Chapter 373 Nascent Soul Cultivator. The flames gathered behind the attacker and turned into a flame giant. The flame giant opened his mouth and swallowed it, swallowing the attacker into his mouth, and completely wrapped it up. Seeing this, Lin Haoyang couldn't help but frown. This cultivation technique was strange, equipped with both offense and defense, and could also take a bit of advantage in this world. However, Lin Haoyang smiled at the corner of his mouth. He might be taking advantage of others, but when facing him, his strengths turned into weaknesses. On the one hand, Lin Haoyang continued to urge the killing intent double swords to harass the flame giant, making him unable to fight Lin Haoyang wholeheartedly. After all, the killing intent sword is a tier 4 top-grade magical item. Even if he turns into a flame giant, the killing intent double swords can still hurt him. At the same time, Lin Haoyang mobilized the spirit power all over, compressed with all his strength and fists, knowing that the fists had become extremely dark, and then stopped. Lin Haoyang didn't hide anymore, and the violent step suddenly started, and his body slammed, and he came to the flame giant's side. Seeing Lin Haoyang's speed, the flame giant's brow furrowed, obviously he was in sync with the person who attacked. Bang Jin! Lin Haoyang screamed again. His arm muscles suddenly shrank, and the black spirit power that wrapped his fist was also shocked, and then, with terrifying power, he slammed directly at the flame giant. The flame giant slapped the killing intent swords with one palm, and then hit Lin Haoyang with a punch. Bump! With two punches, Lin Haoyang flew upside down, withdrawing hundreds of meters before he could stabilize his body. The flame giant is even more miserable. Lin Haoyang's physical strength now exceeds 60,000. Coupled with the bonus of collapse and violent step, Lin Haoyang's seemingly simple punch has a power of 90,000, catty. Even the flame giant was smashed into an arm by a punch, turned into a firework, and completely dissipated. The arm was exploded, and the attacker was also severely injured, and his complexion became pale. Without waiting for his reaction, the killing intent swords were cut again, one in the front and the other, but it was not fatal. The flame giant resisted, and finally relied on the other hand to force the killing intent swords back again. The killing intent double swords had just been repelled, and it was Lin Haoyang's full punch that greeted him. After such a repetition, Lin Haoyang borrowed his strength to crush and the entanglement of the killing intent swords, and within a quarter of an hour, he exploded the flame giant. The flame giant was blown up, revealing the sneak attacker inside. Lin Haoyang did not have the slightest pity, urging the killing intent sword, and chopped off his head. In the face of interests, this kind of murderer is the most hated. Lin Haoyang can't keep him. If he keeps him, another cultivator may die in his hands. He took off the storage bag that the person had hung around his waist, and fumbled on him again, and found 3 barbs as before, and then there were no other items. Putting the 3 barbs in his arms, and holding the leg bone of the 5th order demonic beasts in his hand, a real fire was fired, and his corpse was burned to ashes. Unfortunately, he didn't find that mysterious crystal on this person. Subsequently, Lin Haoyang continued to explore this world, but after this incident, Lin Haoyang became more careful, always guarding his surroundings. In the next 2 days, Lin Haoyang encountered some human cultivators, but Lin Haoyang didn't do anything, and the other party was also afraid of them. Both sides clicked a little bit, and then left. I have also met demonic beasts. Every time I met, it was a life and death battle. The conflict between human race and demonic beasts was too serious. Either you died or I died. Lin Haoyang encountered 2 more blue crystals as before, but none of them were as huge as the first time. There were only eggs laughing. One was snatched from demonic beasts, and the other was when Lin Haoyang was wandering in space. Met. The next day, when Lin Haoyang came, the color around him suddenly changed to cyan, and even the clouds before it turned cyan. Although I was cautious all the way, but at Lin Haoyang's speed, it took only 7 days to cross a ribbon. Is this too slow? Before entering the colorful bubble, the diameter of the colorful bubble was only about 30,000 meters, and at such a distance, at the speed of Lin Haoyang, he could walk through it in 1 day. Now that Lin Haoyang has not been able to finish the journey, he has even walked only 1/7 of the time. The space hidden in this colorful bubble is also a secret realm. Lin Haoyang couldn't help but speculate in his heart. The more he thought about it, the more he felt it was possible. In other words, this colorful bubble is actually not a treasure of spirits, but a treasure of space. If this is the case, then the value of colorful bubbles may even soar, even reaching the level of alarming Hidao cultivator. Not because of its huge internal space, but because it can load living things. The current magical item can only load a certain amount of living things after reaching the 7th rank. Such magical item, Hidao cultivator, can only be used to carry some important spiritual plants. If Lin Haoyang's guess is true, I am afraid that this colorful bubble will exceed the general 7th order magical item. In constant suspicion, Lin Haoyang walked for a little while, and then killed a tier 4 demonic beasts, and then was chased by a tier 5 inferior rhinoceros. Fortunately, this rhino can't escape the sky. It can only move with the floating power of the colorful bubble. The speed can't keep up with Lin Haoyang. After being chased and killed for another hour, the rhinoceros of the 5th tier low grade departs in anguish. However, Lin Haoyang was very fascinated by the rhinoceros of the 5th rank. Seeing it in his mouth, he found a cyan crystal, the size of 2 fists. Although the colors were different, Lin Haoyang was sure that the thing was the same thing as the blue crystal he had met before. Lin Haoyang didn't know why this tier 5 rhino didn't swallow it, but Lin Haoyang was really moved by this spiritual creature. After the tier 5 rhinoceros left, Lin Haoyang quietly followed behind him, taking advantage of the clouds to cover his own figure. In this world, demonic beast's perception has also been greatly weakened, and Lin Haoyang has been following him without being noticed. Along the way, this tier 5 rhino didn't accept anyone. It chased and killed when it saw people, and it started doing it when it saw demonic beasts. Lin Haoyang admired the fiery character of this tier 5 rhino, and finally after Lin Haoyang followed tier 5 rhino for a long time, it finally encountered a hard rub. The opponent was a golden core cultivator with 9 levels of golden core, and he ran into a tier 5 rhino. It was unlucky. The tier 5 rhino didn't say anything, so he let him go to war with others. After a quarter of an hour, he couldn't even touch the shadow of others. It turned out that this golden core cultivator was very good at speed, and cultivation technique was also biased towards speed. At this moment, spirit power turned into 2 wings, turning the 5th order rhinoceros around, and even playing his own inner alchemy. He couldn't do anything about it. His speed was too fast. Tier 5 rhinos entangled with them for an hour, and then completely gave up, but that person also had no choice but to take tier 5 rhinos. Its skin was too thick. With the strength of his tier 5 cultivation base, he couldn't break the defenses of tier 5 rhinos at all. Finally, the 5th order rhino uttered words and said angrily, "You go, don't kill you." The man was stunned, but he didn't expect the rhinoceros to speak. "Oh, who said you can go?" Suddenly, a woman in palace dress walked out of the cyan clouds, staring sharply at the tier 5 rhino, one of which was in the cultivation base, which had already reached the golden core. 63%. Chapter 374 Divine Soul Primal Crystal. Seeing the woman in the palace costume, tier 5 rhinoceros was also taken aback, and then he became awe-inspiring. He was not afraid of the previous golden core cultivator, but the woman in front of him made him feel a little dangerous. In this colorful bubble world, although he naturally has the advantage, he is still not sure about this person. Why do they have to fight again? Tier 5 rhino said. The palace-dressed woman had a solemn expression. Facing the provocation of tier 5 rhinoceros, she was not moved at all. Finally, a cold light flashed in her eyes, and said, "If you don't want to die, just leave the piece of soul crystal in your mouth." Listening to this, the tail of the 5th order rhino stopped, and it seemed that this matter could not be okay. Lin Hao, who was hiding in the distance, frowned. It turned out that the name of the crystal was Divine Soul Yuanjing. Listening to this name, it should be a spiritual object related to Divine Soul, but I didn't know how to use it. Tier 5 rhinos were also too lazy to talk nonsense, and immediately urged their talented supernatural powers. The earthy yellow spirit power circulated around the body, forming a wall of spirit power. Within 10 meters of the whole body, they were covered by this earthy yellow spirit power. These khaki spirit powers, like a rock wall, can resist attacks from all sides and truly achieve defenses without dead ends, making their original perverted defenses even more powerful. The woman in the palace costume insisted, frowning slightly. Apparently the wretched style of the fifth order rhinoceros also caused her a headache. The most important thing is that she doesn't have magical item in her hand. It takes more effort to break through the defense of Tier 5 Rhino. However, the palace girl has no plan to let it go. Before, the metallic spirit power of his body soared, and a wave of sharp power flooded all around. Even the previous golden core cultivator also retreated far away and couldn't bear it. Sharp force. Lin Haoyang frowned when looking at these boiling metallic spirit powers. He also majored in metallic spirit power, but he still couldn't do this if he wanted to do this. The woman in the palace dress also refers to the sword, and the metallic spirit power covered by the right hand is directly turned into the sword light, and its power is no less than the general fifth order magical item. After the sword light was completed, the palace-dressed woman moved to kill the Tier 5 Rhino. Seeing the girl in the palace costume is so crazy, does he really think he is muddled? As soon as the horn on the head of the fifth order rhinoceros moved, it also pushed towards the palace-dressed woman. The palace-dressed woman's face was frosty. She didn't pay attention to the attack of Tier 5 rhinoceros at all, because after the formation of a wall of soil all over her body, Tier 5 rhinoceros's speed decreased again. Compared with the woman in the palace costume, his speed is too slow, and the rhino horn can't touch her at all. Dodging the long horn of the fifth order rhinoceros, the hand knife of the palace-dressed woman suddenly slammed the talented supernatural power of the fifth order rhinoceros with the sword light. On the first day of the collision between the two, the first knife was invincible, but after the hand knife cut about half a meter, it bypassed the hand knife and entangled the woman's arm in the palace costume so that the hand knife could not go any further. The woman's complexion changed and she immediately urged spirit power, and the entire arm burst into light. At that moment, the entire right arm of the palace woman turned into a knife. Seeing this, Lin Haoyang couldn't help but admire that the palace-dressed woman had gone so far on the knife path. This is the realm of the knife, and I am afraid it is not so. As expected by Lin Haoyang, the fifth order demonic beast saw the fierceness of the imperial dressed woman, and in a short moment, they had already pierced the distance of more than 2 meters. The fifth order demonic beasts did not mess up the position either. The palace-dressed woman cut into a distance of 2 meters, which is equivalent to the whole person entering within 10 meters of the fifth order rhino. 10 meters is the realm of the fifth order rhinoceros. Only the fifth order rhinoceros can turn its body, which only affects the palace-dressed women. Within these 10 meters, he has no influence at all. This time, Tier 5 rhinoceros was not reckless, knowing that own speed is a shortcoming. While urging more khaki spirit power to block the speed of the women in palace suits, he opened his mouth and spit out own Nidin at the women in overalls. The head-sized inner alchemy, wrapped in the power of terror, only called on women in palace costumes. Now, she has cut to 3 meters, but as the surrounding khaki spirit power has become more and more, her sword has become more and more fierce. The golden core cultivator on the side was also horrified. It wasn't that he didn't have confidence in the palace girls, but that in this colorful bubble world, the human race was at a great disadvantage. Human knife. At this moment, the woman in the palace costume gave a soft drink, and her voice was like 10,000 years of ice, making Lin Haoyang chill. After a light drink, the palace woman burst into a violent knife light all over her body. Where the knife light passed, the khaki spirit power collapsed. In an instant, the palace woman was within 6 meters. Those khaki-colored spirit powers are really not enough for the palace-dressed woman in this state. When Lin Haoyang was stunned, the demonic beast's inner alchemy of Tier 5 rhinoceros attacked and directly blasted on the light of the sword. The palace-dressed women did not evade at all, so they fought together. Seeing this, Lin Haoyang couldn't help being shocked. He dared to hardwire demonic beast's inner alchemy with his body. They were all fierce men. The golden core cultivator on the side was pale and worried. The violent collision sound did not appear, as if everything hadn't happened, and then a blade of light suddenly appeared, directly splitting and breaking the Tier 5 rhino's talent's supernatural powers. The earth-yellow spirit power dissipated, and the figure of the palace-dressed woman appeared in front of Lin Haoyang again, but this time, she looked extremely embarrassed, her robes were damaged, and her white skin was exposed. The woman in the palace dress was pale and bloodless, especially her right arm, which trembled involuntarily at this moment, and the entire robe of the right arm disappeared completely, and her snow-white skin was even more cracked. Obviously, in the collision just now, the palace-dressed woman suffered a loss, but on the side, 2 halves of the inner alchemy were floating. Tier 5 rhinoceros suffered more damage. Although he was not directly hit by the knife light, the Imperial Palace woman cut his inner alchemy in half with a single knife just now. Lin Haoyang looked at the two halves of demonic beast's inner alchemy, and couldn't help but feel chills. This is too fierce. Hand in or not, the woman in the palace costume suppressed the injury on her right arm and the blood tumbling in her body, her voice was cold. The inner alchemy was broken, and the Tier 5 rhinoceros was also extremely injured, with blood still hanging on the corner of his mouth. His heart was so angry that the inner alchemy was his root. Now that the inner alchemy is gone, he still doesn't know how many years it will take to recultivation. As soon as he was about to fight the palace woman, Tier 5 rhinoceros saw the palace woman's left arm ascending with the same sword light as before. Tier 5 rhinoceros was immediately shuddered, and his anger disappeared. Now he has no inner alchemy, and his strength has been greatly damaged. If the palace-dressed woman uses the sword just now, how he will deal with it, I am afraid it will really be a dead end when he falls. Take it. The Fifth Order rhino's tongue curled up, spit out the soul essence crystal hidden between the teeth, turned around and fled. For the palace-dressed woman, he was completely scared. The soul element crystal wrapped in the blood of the Fifth Order rhinoceros, and came straight to the palace-dressed woman, but faced with the shot soul element crystal, the palace-dressed woman did not move, and did not intend to catch it in the slightest. In the collision just now, the palace-dressed woman had already done her best. If it weren't to scare off Tier 5 rhinos, she would be a rare nonsense. But at this moment, when the soul Yuanjing shot, she had reached the limit and couldn't catch it at all. When the time was exposed, the Fifth Order rhino would turn around and kill her. The golden core cultivator on the side came quickly, but because the distance was too far, it was too late to come. Seeing that the soul element crystal was about to fall on her, at this critical moment, a hand stretched out from behind the palace-dressed woman and put the soul element crystal into her hand. 63%. Chapter 375. Can you give me your clothes? Seeing Divine Soul Yuanjing was caught by the hand that suddenly stretched out from behind, the palace-dressed woman was relieved, but soon, she narrowed her eyes slightly and looked at the Tier 5 rhinoceros who turned back in the distance. Tier 5 rhinoceros was frightened by this look, and immediately did not dare to stop, completely disappearing from everyone's sight. At this time, the palace-dressed woman almost reached the limit, the light of the knife in her left arm dissipated, her eyes slowly closed, and her body fell backward unconsciously. Before falling to the ground, the woman in palace clothes felt that one hand was supporting her back, and wherever her clothes were broken, Lin Haoyang directly touched her skin. Without waiting for the woman in palace costume to get angry, the intense pain directly caused her to pass out. Lin Haoyang was very embarrassed at the moment, the soul Yuanjing dripping blood with one hand, and the other hand dragging the tender back of the palace-dressed woman, really a little embarrassed. Fortunately, at this time, the previous golden core cultivator finally rushed over, and only then did the palace-dressed woman lie down. Lin Haoyang was free now, and used spirit power to erase the blood stains on the soul crystal, revealing its cyan original appearance. After a glance, this cyan spirit soul crystal was no different from his previous acquisition except for the difference in size. Fellow Taoist, take it, Lin Haoyang yelled and threw the soul element crystal in his hand to the golden core cultivator. Take a closer look. The skin of this golden core cultivator is really good, just like a woman, very delicate, but he doesn't bother to care so much. Since this soul crystal has no hope, he will turn his hope to the next one. Just when Lin Haoyang was about to leave, the golden core suddenly stopped Lin Haoyang. Fellow Taoist, please stay. Lin Haoyang had no choice but to turn around and look at the delicate golden core, saying, "Why, fellow Taoist still depends on me. Although I don't want to take your soul crystal, it doesn't mean I am a good person." Fellow Taoist misunderstood. Actually, I want fellow Taoist to help. I must be very grateful, Qingshou scholar said. Lin Haoyang frowned. Now he was in a hurry and really didn't want to delay too much, but when he looked at the soul Yuanjing in the hands of the handsome scholar, he suddenly had other ideas. Seeing Lin Haoyang, the scholar Qingshou kept staring at the soul element crystal in his hand, and hurriedly took the soul element crystal into his arms, and then took half of the Fifth Order rhino's inner alchemy on the side, and said, Sha is willing to use this half of the inner alchemy for your outer robe." Lin Haoyang was taken aback. He heard that right. He wanted to use half of Tier 5 demonic beast's inner alchemy for his outer robe. For what? His robe is not a treasure. Seeing Lin Haoyang's look strange, Qingshou scholar explained. The elder's robe is a little damaged, and now the storage bag can't be opened, it's really Although Lin Haoyang understood what Qingshou scholar meant, why did he have to use his? As if seeing Lin Haoyang's question, the delicate scholar took off the hairpin on his head, and a beautiful long hair was scattered. It turned out that this delicate scholar was also a woman, which was inconvenient. Although he was still dressed in a man's clothing, the appearance of a shawl with long hair at the moment still made people's heart beating. Lin Haoyang was dumbfounded. A wry smile rose from the corner of his mouth, and said, "The outer robe can be given to you, but I want you to tell me the usage of this soul crystal." "Ah, it's very simple. Put the soul element directly on the center of your eyebrows. When the soul element feels your soul, it will naturally turn into the power of the original soul and nourish your soul," Qingshou scholar said. Lin Haoyang was taken aback, but he did not expect that the method of using this soul element crystal was so simple, and by its appearance, it didn't seem to be a lie. After receiving news from others, Lin Haoyang was too embarrassed to take advantage of them. Besides, a woman's skin was exposed, which was indeed indecent. Lin Haoyang took off his robe directly, threw it to the scholarly scholar, and then turned and left. The young scholar wanted to say something more, but Lin Haoyang was gone, so she had to give up. Looking at Lin Haoyang's robe in her hand, she was still stunned. After leaving, Lin Haoyang searched for a quiet place, dived directly into the blue clouds and hid. Without divine sense detection, even if someone passes by him, I am afraid that he will not be found. Quietly, Lin Haoyang took out a golden core-sized blue soul crystal from the Dantian space. According to the woman, just stick this thing on the center of the eyebrows, and it will naturally turn into the power of the soul to nourish the soul. Lin Haoyang held the soul elementary crystal in his hand, and after hesitating for a while, he still pressed the soul elemental crystal to the center of his forehead. He really couldn't think of a reason for that woman to harm him. The soul of the soul element was attached to the center of his eyebrows. Lin Haoyang's skin suddenly felt cool, and even his thinking calmed down. After that, the soul element crystal was tightly attached to Lin Haoyang's eyebrows, and there were more white silk threads on it. Shangbi is what the woman said about the soul. The soul appeared, following the position of the soul crystal, it drilled towards Lin Haoyang's eyebrows. After the soul got into Lin Haoyang's eyebrows, he went straight to Lin Haoyang's soul consciousness sea. Above the consciousness sea was Lin Haoyang's soul sitting in the lotus position. This soul is almost exactly the same as Lin Haoyang except for his body shape. The white soul entered Lin Haoyang's sea of consciousness, and then revolved around Lin Haoyang's divine soul, and finally got into Lin Haoyang's divine soul from the nose of the divine soul. The moment the soul entered, Lin Haoyang's divine soul's eyes suddenly opened, but they were not the pupils of a normal person, but a pair of white eyes, and it was the soul that flows inside. With his white eyes opened, Lin Haoyang could clearly feel that the power of his own spirit was increasing, and the speed of increase was extremely fast. When Lin Haoyang consumed this small egg-sized divine soul element crystal, Lin Haoyang's divine soul power had reached the level of the 6th golden core, and it was still not far from the 7th golden core. Seeing the effect of the divine soul Yuan Jing, but did not feel the slightest discomfort, Lin Haoyang's heart was suddenly ecstatic. This thing is inestimable to him, and it can make up for his shortcomings in divine sense. And after the power of the soul element was completely dissipated, the soul of the soul element also turned into a handful of particles and disappeared completely. The excitement in Lin Haoyang's heart was hard to suppress, and immediately took out a soul crystal and placed it on the center of his brow. It was already 2 hours after the 3 pieces of soul essence crystals had been absorbed. That fist-sized piece of soul essence crystals allowed Lin Haoyang to absorb it for more than 1 hour, but its effect was also the best. After all the 3 divine soul crystals were absorbed, Lin Haoyang's divine power directly entered the late stage of the golden core, reaching the peak of the 8th level of the golden core, which was only 1 step away from the 9th level of the golden core. The huge ascension of the divine soul made Lin Haoyang feel comfortable. Although the cultivation base and the physical body were not obvious, Lin Haoyang's spirit was as comfortable as a bath of incense. Lin Haoyang even felt that his own thinking became more sensitive, and he suddenly wanted to understand some of the confusion before. Suddenly, Lin Haoyang Dantian trembled suddenly. Because of this small opportunity, Lin Haoyang's cultivation base finally reached the 3rd level of Golden Core, and it was only a step away from the 4th floor of Golden Core. Such a treasure, it is no wonder that those people are fighting for life, but the better the effect of the soul element, the more suspicious it makes Lin Haoyang. Why does such a treasure appear in the colorful bubble world? What is the existence of colorful bubbles? 63%. Chapter 376. Lin Haoyang can't get answers to these questions now, maybe he keeps searching and can find some clues. The answer to these questions is not Lin Haoyang's first goal now. Finding the soul crystal, Ascension-owned soul strength, is the first priority. After divine sense was consolidated, Lin Haoyang emerged from the clouds and searched around. There is no law in the place where the divine soul crystal appears. It may appear in the clouds, or it may appear elsewhere. The colorful bubble world is very special. People inside can float. This means that there may be a group of people above your head. After walking for a long time, Lin Haoyang was only beside a cloud, and found a fingernail-sized divine soul crystal, but he didn't find it again. After almost a day on the road, Lin Haoyang finally got rid of the cyan area and came to the green area. There were more people here than the cyan area, and groups began to appear. The first force Lin Haoyang encountered was a combination of 5 foundation buildings and 2 golden cores. Both golden cores only had golden core early stage. Fellow Taoist, how about joining us? The soul crystals we got, the 3 of us are 3 to 3 points, and the remaining 10%, they are 5 points, said one of the bearded golden core. Lin Haoyang didn't agree to this kind of invitation. He could solve them all by himself, so why bother with these burdens? Lin Haoyang shook his head, shook the tier 5 demonic beast's leg bones in his hand, and left without even speaking. Another thin golden core stepped forward and said to the bearded golden core, "Dage, this kid is so arrogant, even if he doesn't have the soul crystal, but he definitely has good things in his storage bag, not as good as us." The thin men are proud of their faces. These days, in addition to searching for the soul crystals, they also hunt down some low-level demonic beasts and cultivators. Divine soul Yuanjing is too difficult to find, and they can't come here in vain, so they started this kind of murder and overpowering. In today's colorful bubble, either killing or being killed, unless you are strong enough to make people scared, otherwise you can only cling to others. Trash, do you want to die? I didn't see the leg bones of tier 5 demonic beasts in his hand. If you want to die, don't pull my back. The bearded man shouted with an angry face. The thin man was taken aback. Although he saw the demonic beast's leg bone boofin in Lin Haoyang's hand, he guessed that it was only tier 4 top-grade demonic beasts at most, but wherever he thought it turned out to be a tier 5 demonic beast's leg bone. Lin Haoyang may not be clear, but their desperados know very well what is in this colorful bubble world, which eats corpses. Whether it is the dead cultivator or the corpse of demonic beasts, you have inadvertently disappeared. Everyone has been in this world for 2 days, and many people and demonic beasts have died, but there has never been one more corpse. Lin Haoyang continued to move forward. The further forward, the greater the chance of encountering people and demonic beasts. At the same time, the greater the chance of encountering the soul crystals. Lin Haoyang only wandered in the green area for an hour and received 2. A soul crystal the size of a fingernail and one the size of an egg. The egg-sized piece was snatched from a group of demonic beasts. Lin Haoyang took the 3 demonic beasts of the 4th order inferior grade with the efforts of the boss. Because of this, he was injured for the first time. However, after only consuming half of the good fortune power in the good fortune orb, Lin Haoyang completely recovered. His healing power in this world is completely cheating. Finding a place at random, Lin Haoyang began to absorb the gains from this period of time. Before, his divine sense level had reached the peak of the 8th level of golden core. After refining these soul crystals, Lin Haoyang is 80% sure that he can break through the divine sense to 9 levels. Just when Lin Haoyang was wholeheartedly refining the soul element crystal in his hand, suddenly there was a human head-sized soul element crystal, gradually revealing it. Divine soul Yuanjing seems to have a strange attraction. As soon as he appeared, he attracted 4 human teams and 5 demonic beasts. Among these teams, there are 2 nascent soul teams, including 5 nascent soul cultivators, there are 3 tier 5 demonic beasts teams, and there are 6 tier 5 demonic beasts. All in all, the demonic beasts have the advantage, but this soul crystal is so huge that it can be divided by several teams, so no one wants to give up. No nonsense, the human race and the demonic beasts went directly to war and began to compete for this piece of soul crystal. Lin Haoyang was hiding in the clouds behind this head-sized element crystal, and at this moment, he was wholeheartedly refining the soul element crystal, knowing nothing about things outside. After about a quarter of an hour, Lin Haoyang finally completed the refining of the soul crystals he harvested this time. His power of the soul finally reached the 9th level of the golden core, but it was still early stage. After the appointment, the more difficult it is to grow the soul. The more soul crystals there are. According to Lin Haoyang's estimation, there is a piece of the fast soul crystal that the woman in the palace costume had obtained before, and his soul power should be able to rise to the peak of the 9th level of the golden core. As for how many soul crystals are needed to break through divine sense to tier 5, Lin Haoyang didn't know, only that the amount was huge. This time, his gains are still not small. His sea of consciousness has almost tripled, and even the shadow of the divine soul sitting on the sea of consciousness has become larger and more solid. After Lin Haoyang absorbed the soul crystal, he was full of joy to feel the breakthrough of the power of the soul, but unfortunately, this time Lin Haoyang failed to use the enhancement of the soul to break through the cultivation base. But Lin Haoyang has a feeling that when he ascensioned the soul to the ultimate level of golden core, it is the time for him to make a breakthrough. Well, after I went out this time, I found enough soul primordial crystal to absorb it by closed-door training. Lin Haoyang muttered. He got up and walked out of the cloud, but when he stepped out of the cloud, what appeared in front of him was a human head-sized soul crystal. Lin Haoyang was a little unprepared, and was directly hit on the head. The place where he was hit was Lin Haoyang's eyebrows. The characteristics of the soul, as long as it is attached to the center of the eyebrows, it will release the power of the soul to nourish the soul. By chance, Lin Haoyang directly released the power of the soul, and began to nourish Lin Haoyang's soul, and because of its large size, the effect was excellent. A large number of white souls poured into Lin Haoyang madly, in vivo. Lin Haoyang couldn't be happy with this kind of only opportunity in the world, because at this moment, both sides of the warring capital suddenly looked at Lin Haoyang, wishing to take Lin Haoyang alive. They beat them to death, but Lin Haoyang came out to pick up the bargain. I said, I just absorbed the soul element in closed-door training, do you believe it? Lin Haoyang's mouth twitched and said this, even if he didn't believe it himself. Kill, hack to death this thief. Someone yelled. Everyone, including demonic beasts, abandoned their opponents and went straight to Lin Haoyang to chase them. Seeing this, Lin Haoyang showed helplessness and injustice on his face. He really didn't want to steal this soul crystal. But at this moment, Lin Haoyang had no choice but to escape. No matter what he explained, it was useless. The most helpless thing was that it was difficult to take off the soul element crystal after it was placed on the center of his eyebrows. In desperation, Lin Haoyang turned back and dived into the clouds behind him. Only by taking advantage of the cover of the clouds could he escape the sight of everyone. He still underestimated everyone's resentment towards him, and only listened to a nascent soul cultivator shouting. Smash this cloud to me, and be sure to find that person for me. 63%. Chapter 377 Escape. There is no magical item, but everyone's cultivation technique spells, demonic beasts' talents and supernatural powers all fell. The cloud suddenly couldn't bear it, and it began to shatter violently. As the clouds dissipated a little bit, Lin Haoyang's hiding place became smaller and smaller. If this continues, Lin Haoyang will not be able to escape everyone's pursuit. Lin Haoyang was ruthless in his heart and pointed to it as a sword. He cut off the soul crystal in front of his forehead, and directly cut it into 2 pieces, one large and one small. As in the Tianqing minor world before, he must share some pressure, otherwise everyone will come together to kill him, and he will not have any chance at all. Although this human head-sized divine soul primal crystal had been cut off by 2/3, the piece stuck to Lin Haoyang's eyebrows at this moment was still not small, and it was a bit bigger than the piece obtained by the palace-dressed woman before. The white souls are constantly pouring into Lin Haoyang's sea of consciousness, making Lin Haoyang's spirits increase all the time. In a short moment, Lin Haoyang's spirit strength has reached the middle stage of the 9th level of golden core. The speed of this rapid increase has not diminished, and it rushes to the late stage of the golden core 9th floor. Seeing that the area of the damaged cloud layer is getting bigger and bigger, Lin Haoyang no longer bears it anymore, and the spirit power behind him shook, and he rushed out of the cloud layer as quickly as possible. Seeing Lin Haoyang being forced out of the clouds, everyone's eyes lit up, and what they didn't expect was, everyone, I really misunderstood before, now I will return this piece of soul crystal to you. After that, Lin Haoyang throws it in his hand, and the soul Yuanjing flies towards everyone. Lin Haoyang is looking for a good angle. The cut side is facing him, and the intact side is facing everyone. As a result, everyone's first reaction was that Lin Haoyang had really cut off most of the soul crystals. Their goal was never Lin Haoyang, but the soul element crystal in Lin Haoyang's hand. Now that the soul element crystal was sent back, even if they hated Lin Haoyang again, they were unwilling to give up the soul element crystal. almost nascent soul, Tier 5 demonic beasts, immediately turned around and grabbed the piece of divine soul primal crystal. But when they got closer, they discovered that this soul element crystal was 1/3 less than before. The remaining part is still not small, but they are willing to give Lin Haoyang the remaining 1/3 of the cupped hands. You all go after it, and you will surely chase that piece of divine soul Yuanjing back to me. A nascent soul cultivator shouted angrily. Demonic beasts reacted the same way. It was unbearable for them to be teased by a human golden core cultivator. Lin Haoyang had escaped Shu Yuan's distance a long time ago, only a little shadow could be seen. The golden core and Tier 4 demonic beasts didn't dare to object, they even wanted to grab the soul element crystal in Lin Haoyang's hand and stay here. The bigger one had nothing to do with them. In an instant, 30 or 40 golden core and Tier 4 demonic beasts rose up into the sky and went straight to Lin Haoyang to chase them. Lin Haoyang was absorbing the power of the soul while escaping quickly, because he wanted to absorb the soul of the soul. Lin Haoyang's speed was reduced. After a quarter of an hour, everyone has chased behind him. Lin Haoyang had no choice but to rush into the clouds again, concealing his figure with the clouds, and buying time for himself. This time, Lin Haoyang didn't go so smoothly, and saw that the group of golden core and Tier 4 demonic beasts lined up and rushed into the clouds. As a result, Lin Haoyang's goal of concealing his figure could not be achieved. Seeing everyone responding in this way, Lin Haoyang also felt an incomparable headache. The soul crystal in the center of his forehead was too large, and it would take at least 2 or 3 hours before he could absorb it. It's not that Lin Haoyang is unwilling to remove it or cut it smaller, but Lin Haoyang's soul, after Lin Haoyang cut it down before feeling it, there was actually a trace of the soul hook. If Lin Haoyang cut the soul element crystal at this time, it would cut off a part of the soul that he had gone, as if the soul was protecting food, making Lin Haoyang quite speechless. Divine sense is damaged. The cultivator will be severely damaged, not to mention the core spirit. Lin Haoyang has no choice but to continue to escape with this piece of spirit crystal. About an hour later, the soul crystal in Lin Haoyang's eyebrows shrank to the size of a fist, and divine sense also ascension to the late stage of the 9th floor of the golden core, not far from the peak of the 9th floor of the golden core. The enemies behind him had chased Lin Haoyang 100 meters behind him, and they could even reach Lin Haoyang with Taoism magical powers. Another thunder struck. Lin Haoyang couldn't hide, was struck on his right arm, and fell directly into the clouds. The people behind him were ecstatic and immediately chased into the clouds together. This time they did not line up, but rushed forward. The thunder just now was a talented supernatural power played by a thunder beast, comparable to the full blow of the 9th layer of the golden core. Lin Haoyang was hit head-on, and he would be seriously injured if he didn't die, so they were eager to find Lin Haoyang and took off the soul element from the center of his eyebrows. Since this hour, everyone has watched Lin Haoyang consume most of such a large piece of soul crystal, and their hearts are dripping blood. Divine soul Yuanjing is extremely rare. Even in this colorful bubble world, it is difficult to find one. Now that Lin Haoyang has taken such a big advantage, people can't wait to take Lin Haoyang alive. But when they rushed into the clouds, what awaited them was a sharp light. The blade was extremely harsh, and the murderous aura was so cold that everyone couldn't react, so 2 Tier 4 demonic beasts suffered and were directly cut into 2 sections. Roll. There was a soft whistle from the clouds. Obviously, there was a nascent soul woman in the clouds. The cultivation base was extremely strong. Everyone looked at the 2 corpses of Tier 4 demonic beasts that had been cut into 2 stages, and each secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Although the person in the cloud is nascent soul, there are more than 30 golden cores and Tier 4 demonic beasts here, and they are not weak in strength. In a real fight, ants often kill elephants, and nascent soul cultivator is not necessarily an opponent. Senior, we only need to take away the man who fell into the cloud just now, a fiery nascent soul said, wanting to take Lin Haoyang away. But he hadn't finished speaking, and another slash of light struck him, and this time he went straight to his front door. The light of the knife made the person's liver and guts torn apart. The corpses of the 2 Tier 4 demonic beasts were still standing aside, and now it was his turn. He grabbed his hands behind his back, and a scale the size of a human head was taken out by him, blocking him in front of him. This scale was obtained by killing a Tier 5 demonic beasts and 2 nascent soul cultivators before. In this place where magical item is forbidden, he is definitely a treasure. But his baby, when the knife light came, was split with a knife, and he was split together, as well as his body. A bloodline appeared from his forehead and extended to his lower body. This person's eyes were full of incredible and unwillingness. He still underestimated the strength of nascent soul cultivator. Afterwards, his body fell in half and fell straight. Others were shocked when they saw this. The nascent soul cultivator was too cruel, and wanted to kill if he didn't agree with it. If you don't get out, you will all stay. There was another icy word in the cloud, and everyone present felt a chill in their hearts. Judging from the intensity of its shots, nascent soul in the cloud should be the middle stage cultivator for nascent soul. If they dare to fight to the death, they still have some chance of winning. But even one person and two beasts died, and they didn't even see the opponent's face. No one wanted the next one to be locked in by the horrible light of the sword. What's more, just go off the beaten path. With the first one, there is the second one. Although he hates Lin Haoyang for penetrates the bone, his life is still important. In less than 10 breaths, everyone was scared away. In the clouds, Lin Haoyang was pretending to be dead, because beside him, it was the woman in palace dress wearing his clothes. 63%. Chapter 378. Demonic beasts had a talented supernatural power just now. It was indeed extremely powerful, and Lin Haoyang almost destroyed his entire right arm. At the critical moment, Lin Haoyang transferred a good fortune orb to his right arm, so that he could barely suppress the injury and not be directly disabled. You are very powerful. When you were hit by such an attack, you didn't even die, and you didn't even hurt you seriously, said the palace girl. Where did Lin Haoyang dare to answer the conversation? He accidentally touched someone's back and ruined their innocence. According to her stinky temper, I am afraid that he could be killed with a single blow. Therefore, Lin Haoyang made up his mind, resolutely pretended to be dead, and resolutely could not speak. Otherwise, it is very likely to be silenced. My son, don't pretend, the soul element between your brows is still being refined. Aside, Qingshou scholar said. Lin Haoyang was taken aback for a moment. Alas, everything is counted. He had forgotten this. Knowing that he couldn't put it on, Lin Haoyang smiled awkwardly and got up from the ground. Thank you for the great kindness of the two fellow Taoists, thank you so much. The one who greeted Lin Haoyang was indeed a bone knife. This should be the inside of some kind of tier 5 demonic beasts. After being killed by a woman in palace costume, it was taken by him and roughly refined into a knife. Say, what did you see that day? The palace-dressed woman's voice said coldly. Lin Haoyang swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This is a terrible question. If one doesn't answer well, it is very likely that he is in a different place. I didn't see anything. I swear. Lin Haoyang was very serious, with a sincere expression on his face. On the side, the handsome scholar smiled and said, Big sis, let him go, he really didn't do anything that day. Seeing Qingshou scholar helping him out, Lin Haoyang nodded frantically, demonstrating his own innocence. Seeing this, the palace-dressed woman put the bone knife down from Lin Haoyang's neck. Flash marriage, her face was undiminished, and she walked aside and stopped ignoring Lin Haoyang. Lin Haoyang let out a sigh of relief. It seems that he should have survived, but it is not easy to stay here. Lin Haoyang immediately said. 2. Don't bother me much, say goodbye. But before he could leave, he was stopped by a handsome scholar and said, Fellow Taoist, we would like to invite you to team up with us. Now in the green zone, there are more cultivators and demonic beasts. It is too dangerous to act alone. Lin Haoyang glanced at the woman in the palace costume, trembled all over, and refused. Although a person may be dangerous, he is with this person. It is possible that he was not killed by the enemy, but was stabbed by her first. Seeing Lin Haoyang disagreed, Qingshou scholar became anxious. Aining, you don't need to beg him, if he doesn't want to, let it go, said the palace girl. No, big sis, you were hurt too badly. If you encounter a powerful enemy again, I'm afraid we. Qingshou scholar's face was covered with tears. My son, please, we met another tier 5 demonic beasts before, and big sis dragged her wounded body to fight with it. Although he narrowly won in the end, his injuries got worse. Quote. Hearing this, Lin Haoyang was shocked, and did not point out that the woman in the palace costume was seriously injured. In this way, she also helped him to scare away the golden core cultivator and tier 4 demonic beasts. Lin Haoyang is not an ungrateful person either. I agree. Listening to this, the scholar Qingshou was overjoyed and jumped up happily on the spot. You don't have to force. The palace costume was about to refuse, but was stopped by Lin Haoyang and said, I have something to treat injuries. After all, Lin Haoyang flicked his fingers, and a good fortune orb was ejected from his body. It should be able to heal your injury. The good fortune orb floats in front of the lady in the palace costume, and the colorful brilliance is flowing, and you can see at a glance that the good fortune orb is not a mortal thing. The woman in the palace costume took a look, and a trace of complexity flashed in her eyes, and finally raised her hand to grab it, and swallowed the good fortune orb into her mouth. On the side, the delicate scholar suddenly became anxious and shouted, "Big sis, be careful." Halfway through the conversation, she covered her own mouth. If she said this, she might cause unnecessary misunderstandings. At this time, the woman in the palace dress began to show blood on her face, and she said, "How could the good fortune orb of the very spirit line be poisonous? Isn't it Lin Haoyang?" Lin Haoyang was completely shocked when he heard the woman in the palace dress saying the good fortune orb an own name, and his face became gloomy. Two killing intent swords appeared behind him, and the black spirit power all over surged crazily. The scholar was full of shock, surprised at both the boldness of the imperial costume girl and Lin Haoyang's identity. At this moment, Lin Haoyang was ready to do something, which made him very embarrassed. He also invited Lin Haoyang to join them just now. "Fellow Taoist, don't worry, we won't hurt you, we will kill Sun Yi in Halong. She is my little sister Sun Ning," Sun Yi said. Lin Haoyang was shocked when he heard the word, Longtu. He had seen the three gods of the line of Longtu show their power before, and he was very curious about it. Unexpectedly, I saw the real Longtu disciple now, but it was in this situation. If the opponent is of the Dragon 2 line, then it is normal to know the good fortune orb. As for knowing his name, it should be that Ji Lingxi accepted him as a disciple and was known by him in the Iron Blood City at that time. The spirit power and killing intent 2 swords dissipated all over the body. If the opponent is the Dragon 2 family, then there is no need to do it. To a certain extent, the home-ins are a cooperative relationship. It turns out that it was Sun Senior and Sun Fellow Taoist. Lin Haoyang was rude, "Please don't blame it." Lin Haoyang humbled. "Blame that dare, I have 3 swords in my Dragon 2 network, heaven, earth and people. I don't know how far it has fallen. I don't even know fellow Taoist Lin." The palace-dressed woman sarcastically said. Lin Haoyang had an embarrassment on his face. He had just joined Ji Ling's line soon, and he didn't understand the characteristics of the other 6 cultivation techniques. It seems that when he goes back this time, he has to make up for it. "You should first refine the soul element on your eyebrows." After the palace dress woman finished speaking, she sat down in the lotus position, the good fortune orb worked, and her injury began to slowly recover. Lin Haoyang wanted to say something more, but seeing that the imperial costume was like this, he had to sit down in the lotus position and began to concentrate on refining the soul element between his eyebrows. After a long time of refining, the soul essence was only the size of an egg. After another half an hour, the soul essence of Lin Haoyang's eyebrows flowed out the last trace of essence, and the soul essence also turned into a handful of fine sand. Before he could feel the point where he had reached the end of his soul, Lin Haoyang focused his attention again, and his cultivation base showed signs of breakthrough. If it were in the past, Lin Haoyang would inevitably choose a quiet and safe place to break through, but now there is no way, he can only break through on the spot. The billowing spirit power continued to surge towards Lin Haoyang, and was subsequently transformed into a special black spirit power. Seeing Lin Haoyang's breakthrough, Sun Yi and Sun Ning were surprised. They originally thought that based on Lin Haoyang's current performance, his cultivation base should have reached the late stage of the golden core, or even the peak of the golden core. Now it seems that they are still looking away. Lin Haoyang is now breaking through only the 4th layer of golden core. Sun's mouth uttered, and she was hailed as a genius all the time, but comparing her with Lin Haoyang, she seemed to be much worse. Even Sun Yi was full of curiosity. He really wanted to know how Lin Haoyang cultivated. 63%. Chapter 379. 3 hours later, Lin Haoyang Dantian heard a soft noise, like the sound of a chain breaking. Following that, Lin Haoyang's spirit power blasted all over his body and turned into a wave of air to roll around, smashing away the surrounding clouds. Feeling Lin Haoyang's spirit power, both Sun Yi and Sun Ning's complexion changed. Although its cultivation base only has 4 layers of golden core, I am afraid that its cultivation base is no less powerful than golden core 6 layers or even golden core 7 layers cultivators. NS. Sun Yi was more curious in her heart. There are rumors from the outside world that all of them are cultivation madmen and lunatics. Now, when I see it, it is true that the rumors are not groundless. Lin Haoyang successfully broke through the 4 levels of golden core, and he was delighted. However, the breakthrough of cultivation base this time was only second. The growth of his soul was the most domineering. The cultivation base on the fourth floor of the golden core has the body of the golden core late stage, and the divine sense at the peak of the golden core. If Lin Haoyang is not a pervert, I am afraid that others will not believe it. Cultivation base entered the golden core middle stage, giving Lin Haoyang another qualitative leap in strength. Although his strength has not improved much, it has reached about 78,000 jin. In this cultivation base breakthrough, Lin Haoyang is equivalent to breaking through 3 acupoints, and his strength has been increased, which is justified. Just how strong Lin Haoyang's combat power is now, he himself didn't know. If he broke out with all his strength, he should be able to fight nascent soul cultivator in a short time. However, this kind of fight is limited to Lin Haoyang's first move to suppress. Before the end of a set of methods, Lin Haoyang is still sure to suppress some of the cultivators on the first floor of nascent soul. This is Lin Haoyang's assessment of his own strength now. After simply consolidating his own cultivation base, Lin Haoyang got up and said to Sun Yi, "How is the senior's recovery from injury?" Sun Yi is still the same cold look she used to be, but there is a trace of murderousness and estrangement in her eyes. "It's okay," Sun Yi said. "In that case, let's set off. I have lost a lot of time in this breakthrough to take back the opportunity that belongs to us." Afterwards, the 3 of them came out of the clouds and began to explore, but the soul crystals in the green world were almost searched. The 3 of them searched for a long time, but they didn't see one. There are not many Terran cultivators and demonic beasts left here. At most, I see some foundation building cultivators and try my luck here. If you are lucky, if you meet a piece of the soul crystal, you can use it yourself. It can greatly strengthen your own soul, and sell it to others. They can also have a lot of income. In view of this situation, the 3 of them gave up on searching the green world, and after running for an hour, the 3 of them came to the yellow world. The yellow realm is not much different from other color realms, but the main change is changed to yellow. During the period of acting with the Sun Sisters, Lin Haoyang learned some rumors that he didn't know, and he was even more wary of this colorful bubble world. One of the biggest doubts was the mystery of the disappearance of the corpse. He hadn't noticed before, but now that he remembered it, he had never seen a corpse. Lin Haoyang and others entered the colorful bubble world. It has been 3 days. 3 days. I don't know how many people and demonic beasts have died, but Lin Haoyang has seen a demonic beasts and the corpses of people. So where did these corpses go? It's hard. What monsters in the colorful bubble world swallowed all these real corpses? Just as Lin Haoyang was thinking hard, suddenly a bunch of people gathered in front of him, and the number was still quite large, about 40 or 50 people. There are very few foundation building cultivators that can get here. Except for some excellent talents and strong methods, foundation building cultivators can get here. At the moment, 30% of the cultivators gathered here are foundation building cultivator, 70% are golden core cultivator, and nascent soul cultivator is still found. Out of curiosity, Lin Haoyang leaned over and took a look, only to see 2 people fighting among the crowd. Lin Haoyang is puzzled. Do you need so many people to watch for a fight? Lin Haoyang found a middle-aged golden core cultivator and asked, "This fellow Taoist, what are you doing? Why are you watching them fighting?" The man glanced at Lin Haoyang, saw that it was also the golden core cultivation base, and casually explained, "Someone is here to set up a bet. You can go forward and fight, or you can bet on winning or losing." Lin Haoyang's eyes brightened when he heard this, but it was a good opportunity, and he immediately asked, "I don't know what is the bet." "Of course it's the soul of the soul. Come on, attack him." The end. The middle-aged cultivator immediately furiously shouted when one of them was defeated. Lin Haoyang saw this with a smile on his face, and he gradually backed away, saying to Sun Yi and Sun Ning, "They are opening. I want to borrow some soul essence." Sun Ning's face twitched. They heard Lin Haoyang's conversation with that person just now, but they didn't expect Lin Haoyang to be poisoned. They didn't realize that Lin Haoyang was also a gambler. Lin fellow Taoist, 10 gambles, 9 losers, family ruined, wives scattered, don't gamble. Sun Ning eagerly persuaded from the side. Lin Haoyang's mouth twitched, but he didn't expect this guy to pile up idioms so powerful. "Don't worry, I'm sure," Lin Haoyang said confidently. But Sun Ning wanted to say more, but Sun Yi directly touched in his arms, took out a piece of the egg-sized soul crystal, threw it to Lin Haoyang, and said, 5 to 5. Good luck. Lin Haoyang smiled and squeezed into the crowd after speaking. Sun Ning was very puzzled by Sun Yi's behavior in borrowing Lin Haoyang's soul element. This was a gambling. How could it be possible to win? If you want to earn the soul elementary crystal, go and crush all your soul elemental crystal to win. Sun Yi said. Sun Ning was taken aback for a moment. She was too excited before, but forgot about this. Lin Haoyang wanted to take part in the battle by himself, and then he bought himself to win. With his perverted strength, how many can beat him in the Golden Core realm? Sun Ning's eyes lit up and shouted. Wait for me, I want to place a bet. Immediately, Sun Ning also squeezed into the crowd. As for Sun Yi, he walked slowly over, a murderous body, so that everyone heard it, and one after another gave way to her. In the field, the cultivator that the middle-aged man had bet on was already defeated, and the soul crystal of the fingernail size he had bet on was also returned to the dealer. I want to participate in a gambling fight. Lin Haoyang rushed into the arena and shouted to the dealer. The dealer saw Lin Haoyang's appearance, not like rogue cultivators, but more like a big prince who had never seen the world. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth and said, Oh, fellow Taoist, who do you want to win? Lin Haoyang looked inexperienced in the world and said, I press myself, I want to go up and gamble myself. Hearing this, the man squinted his eyes. If Lin Haoyang was just gambling, they didn't care, but if Lin Haoyang was going to play, they would have to be careful. If they meet a master who pretends to be a cat and eats a tiger, they may suffer a lot. The dealer waited for a while, a person came up and whispered something in his ear, and then the dealer smiled and said, No problem, you can arrange for fellow Taoist to come off the field. Lin Haoyang sneered in his heart, and the other party agreed so easily. It should be someone who has seen through his cultivation base realm. Seeing that he only has the 4th floor of Golden Core, he agreed so easily. Then if I win, what can I get? Lin Haoyang asked. The dealer smiled and touched in his arms, an egg-sized soul crystal appeared in his hand, saying, If you can win, this soul crystal is yours. Lin Haoyang was overjoyed, and the secret way to give money to the boy came. 64%. Chapter 380. Of course, if you compete, you also need to take out a piece of soul crystal, said the dealer. Hearing this, Lin Haoyang frowned, his face showed hesitation, and finally he was extremely reluctant to take out an egg-sized soul crystal, which was borrowed from Sun Yi. Seeing that Lin Haoyang took out the soul crystal, and it was not too small, his face showed joy, and said, Very well, your soul essence crystal is just used to make a bet. Then you will be on the court in the next game. Lin Haoyang nodded, tightly holding the soul element crystal in his hand, watching the battle in the field, looking forward to it. This gambling battle is a Golden Core 8-layer late-stage cultivator, and his opponent is also a Golden Core 8-layer cultivator. After a bit of bitterness, the dealer has lost streak and retreats. He is not his opponent. After another half an hour of fighting, the dealer Golden Core cultivator lost a move and lost to the person who came to the game. The person who came to the gambling battle was immediately overjoyed. The soul element crystal he had put down was only half the size of an egg, but after this battle, it doubled directly, much faster than searching outside. However, after a gambling fight, he also consumes a lot of money, otherwise he even wants to fight again. The gambling between the two was over, and now it was Lin Haoyang's turn. Lin Haoyang reluctantly handed over the soul yuanjing and walked into the arena. The bearded man who had spoken to Lin Haoyang before saw that Lin Haoyang was on the court. He was immediately overjoyed. He took out his last piece of the soul crystal, the size of a fingernail, and shouted, Buy the banker to win. Hurry. At the same time, there are more people who buy the banker to win. It is not that they look down on Lin Haoyang, but that his Golden Core 4-layer cultivation base is too eye-catching. You must know that the weakest banker is the Golden Core 6-layer. Soon, Lin Haoyang's opponent came on the court. Yes, it was the weakest Golden Core 6-layer cultivator. It's not that the dealer doesn't want Lin Haoyang to arrange opponents of similar strength, it is really, they don't have any weaker ones. Because of the difference in strength, Lin Haoyang and the Golden Core 6-tier cultivator have a gambling ratio of 1 to 2. This gap has not appeared several times. Even if Lin Haoyang's rate of return was higher, Lin Haoyang almost didn't. I'm pressing that Golden Core 4-layer cultivator. Sun Ning walked to the dealer and slapped a fist-sized divine soul crystal in front of the dealer. As soon as her fist-sized divine soul yuanjing appeared, it instantly leveled the gambling capital on both sides. Everyone else was the size of a fingernail, at most the size of an egg, and Sun Ning made such a heavy bet when he came up. Even the dealer began to suspect that Lin Haoyang was here to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger, but in front of so many people, it was hard not to accept Sun Ning's gambling money. However, he still gave Lin Haoyang a look at his opponent. In this battle, he could only win, not defeat. Sun Ning's pressure on the treasure is just a small episode. Others only think that Sun Ning is stupid with many people. What's more, Sun Ning's appearance is the appearance of many people with money. So I didn't think too much. Soon, the gambling battle between Lin Haoyang and the Golden Core 6-layer cultivator officially began. Lin Haoyang didn't say much, grabbed his hand behind him, took out the leg bones of Tier 5 demonic beasts, and rushed towards the man. When the man saw the leg bone in Lin Haoyang's hand, he couldn't help but be shocked. Only then did he understand why Lin Haoyang dared to participate in the gambling fight. It turned out to be relying on this leg bone. The Golden Core 6-layer cultivator did not rush, and pulled out 2 demonic beasts' ribs from his own sleeves. Although its grade is only the top grade of Tier 4, there is spirit power circulating on it. The 2 ribs have been trained into 2 rough magical items. Lin Haoyang smiled at the corner of his mouth. He had never been afraid of a refining tool. He saw the black spirit power flowing on his arm and quickly wrapped the entire leg bone. It was obvious that this leg bone of Lin Haoyang had also been sacrificed. With a crooked beating, Lin Haoyang took advantage of this practice to break his own refining technique to the 4th tier top grade, which was unexpected joy. Bump. The 2 quickly fought against each other, and the cultivator on the 6th floor of Golden Core was not afraid because the leg bones in Lin Haoyang's hand were the 5th order. He turned his hands over and used the bones as swords to make a ruthless trick. Lin Haoyang was not very flexible because he was holding the leg bones, so he was quickly forced to the corner. There are rules in gambling, and if you fall out of the circle, you lose. Sun Ning looked at Lin Haoyang being pressed and beaten all the time, without the strength to fight back, but also anxious. You know, she has put all her belongings on Lin Haoyang. If he loses, isn't he going to lose out? Seeing that he was about to be forced out of the battle circle, Lin Haoyang no longer concealed, his leg bones moved suddenly, and with a violent power, he suddenly hammered on the 6-layer rib swords of the Golden Core. This time, Lin Haoyang did not keep his hands. The force of horror slammed on the double rib swords, and only heard a click. The double rib swords were directly broken into 2 sections, and the Golden Core 6-layer cultivator was also blown out by the huge force. Seeing this, Lin Haoyang put his leg bones on his shoulders and asked, should he fight again? Golden Core's 6th-layer cultivation base barely stopped the figure within the battle circle, but the restless blood in the body was still difficult to suppress, and his hands couldn't help shaking. That power is too terrifying, but he is not reconciled. If he loses, the soul element crystals he won before will be lost. When he wanted to go up again, a cold voice came from behind him. Retreat, you are not his opponent. Golden Core 6-layer cultivator gritted his teeth. He really didn't want to lose, but when the person spoke, he could only obediently admit defeat. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as simple as losing the soul elemental crystal. When the time comes, you may not even be able to save your life. I admit defeat. After saying this, he left quickly. At the moment when the number of Golden Core 6th floor, the audience booed constantly, and some people even scolded the shady, but Lin Haoyang didn't care. He went to catch the house, not only got back the soul crystal of his bet, but also won a piece of soul the size of an egg. Yuanjing. But the happiest thing was that Sun Ning earned 2 fist-sized soul crystals, which caused the dealer to lose blood. In the end, when the dealer was extremely unwilling, Sun Ning took away 3 fist-sized soul crystals with interest. The gambling battle had been won. Lin Haoyang did not intend to continue. There were more important things waiting for him. However, just as Lin Haoyang was about to leave, the dealer grabbed Lin Haoyang's wrist and said, "Fellow Taoist, someone on our side wants to gamble with you again." Lin Haoyang was taken aback, but he didn't expect this to happen. According to his idea, even if he wins, the dealer can control the game. It should be earned. Is it because he wants him to fight a fake match? Looking at the doubts in Lin Haoyang's eyes, the dealer had no bottom. Are Lin Haoyang and the kid who won the 3 soul crystals together? Fellow Taoist, when we raise this time, our bet amount is twice yours. What do you think? The dealer continued. Lin Haoyang frowned. It seems that the opponent must use him in the game, but if this is the case, then he should win a little bit more. 3 times. Good. As soon as the dealer gritted his teeth, he actually agreed to Lin Haoyang's request. With a 1-3 bet, if Lin Haoyang wins, they will lose blood. However, since it was the man who was ready to take the shot, how could Lin Haoyang win? Therefore, the dealer immediately publicized it, and after a short break, Lin Haoyang will start the second gambling game. Lin Haoyang will start the second gambling game. Lin Haoyang will start the